In the shadow of the night, Ankh on the creep, raising up the titans, watch the fallen gods weep. From Baltimore streets to the Florida shores, Jehovah, hold and feel the wrath as it roars. No more rules, it's time to break. Killer army rise and make no mistake. All gods must die, hear the echoes cry. From the heavens to the ground, see them fall and die. All gods must die, no more alibis. Odin, Buddha, Allah, they all say goodbye. Zeus, on the throne, but he's losing his life. He's ready for the fight. Open your best run, we here for debate. All the deities trembling, feeling the weight. Step aside, make way for the real. All gods must die. It's a done deal. It's a done deal. Hey. All gods must die. Hear the echoes cry. From the heavens to the ground, see him fall and die. All gods must die, no more alibis. All gods must die, no more alibis. They all say goodbye. All could have gone killer, now time to fly. The world's ours now. Hear the last goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah. Black African power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie. A well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Woo-hoo-wee, man. Y'all already know what it is, man. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's God killing the house. And I come to do what I got to do, and I'm going to do what I got to do. I'm standing tall. I'm standing strong. Hey, man, y'all know what it is, man. Pseudo killers on deck, man. Community skeptics. Very interesting conversations going on. Big up to all the supporters. Appreciate you. Big up to everybody, man, that's fighting for scientific literacy, man. And big up to all the fans. Big up to all the supporters. And just big up to all the scientifically literate people around the world, man. You know what, man? We sit back and we chill. And we do our thing. And all we want to do is bring science and a scientific commitment to the damn community. We keep our friends close to us and keep our enemies even closer. And we always keep it respectful until they dive out the window. It's a lot of diving out the window here about this, about that. It's a lot of diving, man. A lot of people diving out on the Egyptian conversation. The shit been over with, been lost. Everybody knows my stance is by now that Nile Valley Africans is indigenous. That's it. And you can take the percentage here and pull off a forehead there and pull off a leg there and take a lung out and all that and DNA and that and make a person walk around with a leg all you want. The culture is indigenous African culture, man. We give a scientific stance on it so that African Americans can realize just what it is. There was a show yesterday on DMG's channel. Yes, it was. And I was like, that's interesting. And when I seen it, I was like, that ain't like them on Paradigm Shift TV 314. I was like, that's interesting. I was like, say they friends, they good. And this is what I mean by a friend. I don't need no passes on nothing. The crew don't need no passes on nothing. We stand on ours. We stand at the top of Mount Olympus. So we don't need no passes because we all come from the people, and we have allowed science to push us to the top of our understanding of nature with plenty, whole lot more to learn. You will never get it all. The possibilities are endless. And I was like, man, something is real funny here. I said, I ain't got DMG and them, the Craigs, right? I ain't got, that don't make no sense. So let me see. I said, it's not really Sage and them. I was like, it's kind of retarded. And then seeing the title, I was like, that's disrespectful. That's playing a little rough. I was like, that's a little rough there. Fee, 5, 4, fun around this motherfucker. Huh? I like, don't react. Chill out. What you saying in the title is not representative of the people that run the channel. Couldn't be. I ain't stand up. I know stand up when I see it. I know the flim flam when I hear it. I know all that. I just can feel it. And then the crazy nuts came on the channel. I was like, what is this? What foolishness is this? But big up to the channel. I see you, Cedric. What's good? What it do? Pseudo Killer Official, I see you. Lamar Pope, Pseudo Killer Army. What it do? What it do? What it do? Man, I'm seeing the people. Mika, 1. Nelson, I see you. Hey, I see you. And here's the gringo. Man, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel, man. Become a member, man. Y'all know what it is. Let's let the people come in the building. Who in the hell is these guys? They just want to get touched up a little bit. I don't mind reaching down out of the heavens and grabbing them by their hair and looking them in the face and say, what in the hell are you talking about? And then dropping them. Science has elevated humanity since the beginning. Religion has caused a lot of turmoils, a lot of fighting, a lot of scratching, a lot of wars across the board. Why? Because religion is actually, when it's promoted and pushed, it's actually an intrusion on a person's or tribal clan ancestral totems, ancestry, and the ability to have agency of deification. It's an intrusion on that. It says that my God is real and your God is not. Oh my. And they all try to act like that ain't what it is. Now, I'm going to have to be mean today because I can be. And ain't nothing religious people can do about it. My turn. Fee, 5, 4, fum. Religion is destruction of a person's ancestry if not handled correctly. We've seen it in colonialism. We've seen it as it swept through West and Central Africa and Ethiopia. It degrades a person's ancestry and it marginalizes them to nothing. It claims that certain spots in the world is the beginning of all humanity. It's a belief. It's a myth. And so as I tuned into the channel, I'm not even sure what the niggas' names is. One guy was howling, screaming. The other guy, I was like, what in the world is going on here? What is that? And I was like, this ain't a sanctioned thing right here. 1 second. I said, this ain't the normal programming. Somebody then snuck into the system, crawled out of the sewer with the dirt on them, talking reckless about the crew. I don't know what in the world. I'm going to play it. I'm going to show you how wild it is. I'm going to get in and out. This one of them official drive-bys. We know what it is, man. The official drive-by. When we drive by on them two idiots that was on the show, what they was talking about was wild. All off Keita, you need religion. I don't believe they actually believe that you need religion. I don't think they think that it needs to be equal with science. They don't believe that. Because let me tell you something about the African Americans. If the African American, specifically those two, if they actually believe that, then why are they following the colonized religion that destroyed and degraded their ancestors to nothing? Any land you find that does not have a Christian monarch, you can enslave them and bring them to Christ. These two characters are definitely suffering from an inferiority complex. How am I saying it? I'm saying it like this. You must think that where you came from, which wasn't from the Holy Land, which is in Western Central Africa, if you're African American, you're suffering from an inferiority complex. Specifically when you open your mouth and talk about how it needs to be a balance and how we need religion and all that, you talking about Christianity right now. And how do I know you talking about Christianity? Because you're a Christian. That's how I know you talking about Christianity and how the church did that, how the church did that. But you can't really think that religion should be on par with science or that important, because if you actually did, you would go back to your ancestral shrines. You would recognize the importance of what your ancestors brought to the table, but that you do not. You have chosen the colonized religion, the thing that enslaved you, and then they try to get Bantu slick. Oh, well, you know that the real Christians came from. Shut the hell up. My grandmother didn't know nothing about that. My mother sure as hell didn't know about that. And we wouldn't know about it if not for crazy as you two. Get out of here. Nobody's going to theology school and learn about the Christians and the church fathers and how they might have been African. We don't want to hear none of that. First of all, we don't think that African people are monolithic people, first of all. So if Ethiopians just so happen to make it to West Africa, right, and change their ancestral shrines, then they become colonizers, no matter what the name you put on them. But if they truly believe what they say out their mouth, that it should be equal, right, and how important religion is, then why not go back to your original totems? You know, the great ancestors get elevated to the gods. Oh, it's just one God. You're lying. I got a dictionary of gods that say you're lying. There's not just one God. Where's my encyclopedia of 25,000 gods? It's somewhere around here. They done moved it. What in the hell is going on? And this is how I know you're lying, because it says in encyclopedia of gods, over 25,000 deities of the world. So if you say it's one God, you're lying and you're scamming. And you've elevated your religion over other people's religion. You only do this because of colonization and slavery of your mind. So those two guys was definitely colonized, because if they wasn't, they would have kept this shit to themselves without putting the name of a group that's dedicated to making sure science is in the community. I ain't trying to wipe religion out the damn community. I want to educate them. I want to educate them on their ancestral shrines, on global religions, Islam, Christianity, Judaism. I want to talk about the indigenous ways of life and cultural containers of ideas, right? All this is contained in your religion. So I'm open for conversations. So if you want to have a conversation on the howling and screaming, you should have knock, because you're on a platform to know how to get me. But you go over there on that platform and you mess it all up. Then you don't let my man get on there and he ain't even get a chance to talk to y'all two nuts. Where did y'all crawl out from the soup? Where did they come from? Fee, fi, fo, fum. I don't even remember their names, but what I heard was wildness. And let me show the clips. Let me show you this. Let me get in and get out on this. This is interesting to me. I ain't never seen such foolery. What in the world is going down here? Nuts. Like just gone. Like Christianity is the whole thing. Like, stop it. We're gonna start right here. No disrespect to Paradigm Shift TV, but you had some slum on there. It was a little bit, I don't know, I can't figure it out, but I would say they was ignorant. And they don't really care about religion like I do. I care so much about religion, I study the world religions, and I give them all equal footing. Because when you respect other people's religion, you actually respect their totems, their ancestors, their deities, their gods. The gods ain't nothing but a collection of concepts and ideas and belief systems. It encapsulates the way a person thinks. That's how we know that those Indo-European stock, right? That those Asiatics, they had a ruthless streak to them because their God is ruthless. If your God is saying kill everybody, then the person that wrote it is saying kill everybody, because last time I checked, God don't write nothing. So when we read these religious texts, it embodies the mind, the hearts, and the spirits of the damn people. Y'all didn't know that? Or y'all thought the heavens opened up and the Bible just fell, or religious trees just fell out the sky. Right. See, that's what my atheism protects me against complete foolery. So human beings will write religions, and their ideas and their concepts and their aspirations will all be in their religious text. So if you want to know how a group of people are, read their damn religion. Tell you exactly who they is. If they talking about kill the whole world, then them people will be dedicated to kill the whole world. What I'm basically saying is that that's in them because that's their idea. If something go wrong, not the way they want it, like the government don't want it to go, then they're going to kill everybody because they tell you that. It's not hard. So let's get right here to the point. Let's hear this conversation right here. Man, make sure y'all like and subscribe to the channel, man. Go over there and like and subscribe to Paradigm Shift TV 314. But since he had the two dudes, I don't know their name. I don't know who that. I can't even figure out their name. Let me see. What is it? Let me see. The hell is their name? Let me see. Nut 1 and Nut 2. That's what we'll call them. We call them Nut. Nut 1 and Nut 2. Yeah, we'll get them. Let's see. Here we go. See what they talking about here. Crazy.
With Burkina Faso, they're following suit. You know what I'm saying? So y'all can kiss my ass on that, old so-called Pan-Africans. But let's go. Let's go. Let's continue. All right? So let's get to this. Now, why humans cannot be entirely objective. If you think that you're entirely objective, you got your head up your own ass.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Stop it. I got to get some water for this. Do you see the chart right here? I can't even go no farther. What does the chart say? Hold on. Wait a minute. Right here, let me blow it up. Why humans can't be entirely objective. We know about being subjective and objective. I'm going to tell y'all something right now. Religion was not created for humans to be objective and subjective. Despite our best efforts, human cognition is shaped by biases, emotions, and perspective. Well, no shit, Sherlocks. the two dumber and dumber guys. Why would you put this up knowing you got a scientific literary group? Biases, blind spots. People recognize biases in others, but often deny it in themselves. I agree. This cognitive blind spot makes true objectivity elusive. I agree. Perceptions is perspective dependent. Studies show that even basic visual perceptions is influenced by personal viewpoint. I agree. I agree. Philosophical limits of objectivity. I agree. Cognitive biases. I agree. I agree to all these things. Why do I agree to all these things? But there has been a tool created to help humans with this, and it sure as hell one religion. Hey, Cedric, I don't know how they walked into this one like that, bro. How in the hell would two people talking reckless and crazy about the pseudo killers put up a chart like this? Religion sure as hell wasn't made for this. It's not equipped to handle your biases, your cognitive biases. It just was not. Religion wasn't created to stop your biases, blind spots. It wasn't. Science was. Science was created to curb these things. And even with that, it can creep into the research. That's why it's important for the community as a whole. This is a completely non-rational showing of information that I've seen in a long damn time. Big up to Chilembe, pseudo killer official. Man, why would you put a chart like that? Listen to what they're saying.
Okay? Your brain does not function like that. Now, I know you want to believe that your brain is entirely objective and without flaw, but that don't even coincide with evolution. Okay? You have a learning curve, and you have mental capacities that don't exceed certain things. That's why religion and faith were pro-adaptive evolutionary tools. Just talking from an objective perspective, right? So despite the best efforts, human cognition is shaped by biases. Oh, you just said your bias about religion. Emotions, that's your emotions and your perspective. Here's what the research says. Blind spot. People recognize bias in others, but often deny it in themselves. This cognitive blind spot makes true objectivity elusive, ma'am. Perception is perspective dependent. Watch this. Studies show that even basic visual perception is influenced by personal viewpoint. We can get that, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? My brother Corey, he thinks the earth is flat because he can't see a curve. And we know how that is. For example, the rotated coin. So y'all are being just the same with denying the fact that you actually need some form of faith-based for your brain to function. While you're arguing with me, y'all being just as flat-headed as the flat earthers.
Did this man just say you need some kind of religion to be evident? What in the world is going on around here? What he's really saying is y'all need God and Christianity to get rid of your biases. Hell, the Christianity is one of the most biased thing ever. The bias is that the Christian God came to earth and died for the sins of all humanity. How can he be more biased than that? I say again, it's clear that Christianity promotes that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. And he sent on the earth to save humanity. Humans ain't needed to be saved. They needed to be saved from Christianity, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. That's what the hell we need to be saved from. We didn't need to be saved from nothing until that force came in to play. That interplay of technology and disrupting force. That's what the world needs to be saved from a group of people drawing a line down the middle of the map, the demarcation line. And what was that? They split it up. Spain and Portuguese had one side, Spain had the other. And wherever you go, this is the Pope now, the head of the church. The Pope say, hey, man, whatever lands that you discover, they discovering lands with people on it, you can enslave the inhabitants and bring them to Christ. Papist bulls. What more bias is that? Oh, we know Christianity ain't really like that. Islam, man, the Islam came with the sword in some places, man. It usurped culture, man. It put Africa in a dysfunction at times. Yeah, sometimes it brings good things, sometimes it brings bad things. But at the end of the day, yo, they take the most valuable thing you got, your ancestral lands. This ain't even hard to see. But religion ain't built for the things he reading. I say again, religion ain't even created by human beings to deal with this. Man, we do brain shows on the pseudo killers, man. And how the hell you think you know about the brain? Not by looking at God or praying to a particular deity. You know about that by studying human anatomy, neurology. This is science. It tell you at the bottom of this chart for a deeper dive. Check out this philosophical discussion on objectivity and this neuroscience-based study on perception. Neuroscience-based study. You got to go to science to get this, baby. Not to your man's religion. Craziness, yo. How'd they jump out there like that? Tick-tock, tick-tock.
The perception is influenced by personal viewpoint. For example, a rotated coin may appear oval even when we know it's circular. Philosophical limits of objectivity. Philosophers like Nietzsche and Kant argued that all knowledge is filtered through subjective experience. Even scientific observation is shaped by prior beliefs and cultural context, just like you just proved to me, Miss Heru Conscious. Much love to you and the family. You know what I'm saying? You just said it. I went through that. That you just shot yourself in the foot. You just proved my case. Cognitive biases and heuristics. The brain uses shortcuts like confirmation bias and agency detection, which reinforce existing beliefs and make complete neutrality nearly impossible. You cannot be neutral as long as you holding on to what you did in the church and what the church did.
I mean, ain't that subjective, bro? Like, for example, if she had that experience in church, and let's say another person, right, and then another person had an experience where everything went the opposite to what she said, then that means that both of y'all situations cancel each other out.
You're looking at the point from two different angles. You understand what I'm saying?
I mean, that go for me too. Though. No, watch this, and that go for me too. Like I've been to like.
They talking over each other. Fumble, bumble, bumble, fumble. Bumble, fumble, fumble. As they rolls up out of the trash, they fumble, bumble, bumble. Religious talk. In the highest degree. Complete foolery. At all measures. Incoherent. No way you even know about cognitive biases and blind spots without the innovation of science. Religion ain't got that for you because it's not made for that. It's made for you to believe. That's one aspect of religion. It's also cultural container of ideas, institutions, ceremonies, burial practices, social cultural systems. So if they really thought this thing was that important, why they ain't going back to their own ancestral shrines? Why absorb the cultural biases of those that came to conquer? Colonialism. Howling and screaming. Let's finish this off. Quick drive-by.
I stay in Texas, so I'm out here with the church like TD Jakes, them and all that. Right now, I know that the Bible teaches about real churches and fake churches. Yes. So when I go to a fake church and I see a pastor who just in it for the money grab and fake prophecies and all that, we call that stuff out. But according to what the Bible says, we can recognize that that's a false church. So when we see somebody else who went to that false church, you can't broad brush all of churches because of that.
Now he know what a fake church is. I see a fake church and the pastor getting money is a fake church. Hell, they need to pay the damn bills. God don't pay no bills. Somebody got to pay the damn bills. It's a fake church. The pastor, that church get more money. Maybe they running their business better. Maybe the preacher's goddamn better. Everybody's getting money in the church ain't wrong and evil in the false church. So you saying the broke church is the right church? Yeah, he's all over the place. You don't know what the hell they talking, but he's talking. Sliding all in and out of the lanes. Get out the lane. You can crash dummies. Get out. Get out the lane of signs. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Get out of here with that. We're not listening to the mumble jumble, fumble bumble. Fumble bumbling.
Experience with that church, especially when that now let's go beyond church. We can go to a mosque. Let's go beyond a mosque. We can go to Buddhism. We can go to Hinduism. Anybody who let's go to what you said, to the people in Egypt that built those pyramids. Whatever they was practicing, they had
wasn't no atheist.
There you go. So yeah, so I'm just saying that to say,
but they were still able to cut stones,
and they still believe in science and religion at the same time. Right. So yeah, so that's all you're saying. Go ahead.
They still had the ability to calculate the distance between this and that and the stars and do all of that stuff, and they were not atheists. They had something that drive them and gave them purpose, and also gave them social and community cohesion.
So now, being an atheist, you don't have no cohesion. What the hell wrong with this man? Oh, they built the pyramids. They wasn't atheists. They was definitely soft atheists because they was pantheists. And a pantheist don't think it's a supernatural. A pantheist say all things in nature does this and does that. We call that a soft atheist, my man, in the study. Interesting. Now we got the age-old argument. Ain't no nation, atheist nation. What the hell? Okay, you can name atheist nations, but that ain't even a point. I don't lose cohesion in my household. We don't have believers. We have knowers. We seek to know. I didn't force my family into anything. It's a choice they made based off of elevating their thinking. So we wouldn't need to have atheists anything. Hell, if you study science, you understand that there's a thing called the believing brain. But the mistake that's made is that an atheist don't believe. That's bullshit. I have plenty of beliefs. I just don't believe in your stupid one God religion. That God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten son, a maniac God. He don't come himself. He sent his son. God came to earth with his one God, but his three things last time I checked. Complete nut foolery at all high degrees. Don't even make no sense. God loved the world so much that he killed his son to save the world. Saving the world for Christians didn't even know about the whole damn world when the shit started. Ain't know nothing about it. Had no idea about the whole world. So how was they saving the whole world when they ain't know about the whole world? Greeks didn't circumnavigate the globe. Intercontinental ships wasn't there. What are we talking about here? Stop it. Without technology, Christianity don't even get around the world. Without colonialism, it don't go nowhere. Without science, you ain't even got no Bible. You might have the written text, the different parchments here and there, but you ain't got no Bible. Without Gutenberg printing press, it ain't mass produced for nothing. That gave it a clear advantage. Not listening to this foolery, man. So yes, atheists do have beliefs. We just don't believe that you got the God. How about that? That you got the culture, and without that, the world gonna fall apart into evil. Man, you don't need religion to have morals. It's crazy. It's bananas. You're basically saying that we need your moral code. That's what they saying. That without your moral code, they can pick and choose what's a good church and a bad church, then you're going to hell. That's what they saying. Crazy. That the concept of heaven come from a group that you would call pagans anyway in the Nile Valley. Boy, I tell you, man. Zoroastrianism, Persians predate that. Come on, man. Nonsense, man. Complete foolery.
That you have not been able, then you will not be able to show me with any atheist. There's no atheist civilization on earth. Not one. Show me an atheist civilization. And don't go to Sweden and say they became atheists later. That had nothing to do with the price of a can of beans in Bosra or Bolivia. Okay? Yeah, it's going to be classic war child today. Right? So cognitive bias and heuristics. Right? Complete neutrality. Nearly impossible. You can't be totally neutral. I had to learn that. I lost faith in God and became an atheist. I was an atheist for about 6 to 7 years. Y'all know when I first came into the Lion's Den, I was banging on religion. A lot of it came from my own traumas. But we got to be careful about just, personal experiences and not look at the entire picture just because yo pastor slept with your mama, your auntie, you feel some kind of way about all religion, and now you think that you're a Borg and that you can be entirely objective. No, right now you are literally showing your bias. Your brain's learning curve is in the way. Remedial.
Okay, here's a mistake again. Just because a person don't believe in God doesn't necessarily at all mean that you went through some type of trauma in your church or the pastor slept with your wife or this and that. Doesn't even mean that. That's a wild ass statement. Maybe that's why you gave up the church, because you went to a wild church. I ain't had that kind of wild church. Pretty sure it was things going on behind the scenes I didn't know, but did nothing that would knock me out of that. It was me reading that made me realize the shit was bunk. It was me recognizing that where I came from as a Homo sapien didn't have those particular religions for 350,000 years. And I was like, oh my. And I'll never forget calling my mother. I say, Mom, we need to thank the white people, because without them, we wouldn't have known Christ. He was like, what? I said, yeah, they enslaved us and brought us to Christ. I thought that to be ridiculous. And that put me on my path for getting to where I am now. I wasn't going through no damn trauma. I remember a nigga told me that one time. I ain't going to mention his name. Shinjetti. Said I must have went through some trauma. Why I don't believe in God. Get out of here with that crap. How about we just smarter than that? How about we can just read and write? We can think about it. How about we seek to be intellectual in the meanwhile? How about that? You don't got to go through some trauma just not to believe in crazy religions, walking on water. How much trauma do it take to realize that humans ain't walking on water? How much trauma do it take to realize that humans, quote unquote, is going to heaven? Only if you're a Christian. Well, damn. How much trauma do that take? Not a lot, do it. Crazy. Let me say this again. So you basically saying it takes trauma to push you away from thinking that the damn Red Sea split and 1 million people walked at nighttime to the other side? You know how long it would take for 1 million people to cross out of Egypt through the Sinai Peninsula, man? You know how long that would take? Not a day. 1 million people? It's saying in the biblical text. Add it up. Don't take no trauma. That's just stupid. And God reached down and grabbed some dirt and blew into it and became a living soul. They don't take no trauma and say that's dumb. Don't take no trauma for that. Once you start reading the text, you say, whoa, the humans didn't start in the garden. Oh, man, God took a rib out of man, took a rib out of him and put him to sleep. And really? That don't take trauma. That take you just reading and educating yourself. And then figuring out where the oldest Homo sapien bones. That kill your religion right there. You're like, oh, man, they messed all that up. And then when you realize and start to read the biblical text in the Quran with a daggone map, then you be like, oh, man, they not even including Africa. They ain't knowing shit about West Africa, Central Africa, South Africa, none of that. And barely understood North Africa. Not even know they got to go to Northeast Africa. Hell, look at that. Look, pull up a map of the biblical world. So, yo, no. You don't need no trauma to knock you off that. You just need some reading skills and some comprehension skills. And then get some real answers around this piece. Oh, I'm being mean tonight. Maybe you got traumatized. Craziest thing ever. Watch how stupid it gets. It gets dumber. Oh, it do. It gets crazier.
For a deeper dive, check out philosophical discussion on objectivity and this neuroscience-backed study on perception. Let's go forward, y'all. What did Albert Einstein say? Science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind. So with y'all, I agree to a degree that blind faith is remedial. However, faith is a necessary part of living. You don't get up and go to work and get in your car and drive down the street, you know what I'm saying, fearing that, you know what I'm saying, you're going to immediately die in a car wreck, or that your children are not going to make it. Although we always carry those fears, you know what I'm saying, while we go about our daily lives, we have to utilize and exercise faith.
Blind faith is definitely remedial, right?
Yes,
and
sir.
I think that when we're talking, or when you're talking to people who mention the word faith, it's like they're arguing from the blind faith side, not the faith that's in stuff, you know, that's seen. Like, right. For example, we know, and this is just a fact. I don't care if you're a believer in something or not. It's a fact that everybody uses faith every day, but we do it so subconsciously, like you're explaining. You know, we get in our car. Well, since the gas pedal worked yesterday, and the day for that, and the day for that, when I press it today, I'm gonna, you know, I'm not gonna even think about it. It should work until that time that it don't. You know, my battery was good yesterday. My alternator was good yesterday. My tire wasn't on flat yesterday. So when it comes to, I think people forget to separate that everything has a good side and then it has a bad side. Yes, blind faith is definitely bad.
And we have to find the balance in between the two.
There you go. So what you're saying is a person is more equipped to believe in science with religion or faith than just a person who just believes in religion or a person who just believes in science. Both. Okay, go ahead. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm on point.
Absolutely. Actually, the person who understands the limitations of the human mind and also understands what drives the human being. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, love. I bring that up. You say you love your wife. You say you love your children. All of those are chemicals in the brain. And you're going to sit there and rationalize that and say, well, I think I love my children, but honestly, it's just chemicals. Are you serious?
This one, you know they fucked up, right? You know they fucked up, right? Let's read the statement and put it in its proper context. Albert Einstein: science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. I'm smelling a scam here. I can smell a scam. I smell a scam. Was Einstein really saying that? Let me talk to y'all for a minute here. Let me get this right. Let's talk about this for a minute. You do know that as human beings elevate through the sciences, and those that reach the highest level in science, right? You know their belief in God really withers away. And even when you get to the highest levels and the highest levels of science and the real halls of science, right? You say, so why you believe in God? They can't even really tell you. That ain't even really it. They don't believe in walking on water, none of that stuff. They ain't doing none of that, specifically at the highest levels. See, this is what they won't tell you. And you're never doing a scientific experiment trying to implement God in that. So don't even come with that nonsense. Let's see what Einstein was really trying to say and how they have misused it. They always do it. You know what we say around here, right? Pseudo always dies at their source. So let's get this thing right. Let's move the party right where it's supposed to be. Let's see. Let me see. Here we go. Let me get it right. Let's see. All right, we right here at the game. Okay. Einstein on science and religion. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. Einstein. Y'all see? Just a quote. Let's get some learning in here. Let's get some historical context of the damn quote. The quote is from Einstein's 1941 essay in Science, Philosophy, and Religion, a symposium. It says later included in Ideas and Opinions in 1954. Einstein was addressing the interplay of scientific progress and moral responsibility during World War II. You do not need your quote-unquote religions to have moral responsibility. Would somebody tell them to, fools? It say he often spoke of a cosmic religion feeling rather than organized religion. You mean like the organized religion they didn't, huh? Einstein's philosophical stance on religion. So he was projecting a philosophical stance on religion. Einstein rejected personal anthropomorphic gods. Yeah. See, he would have rejected your God. He believed in a non-personal God as the embodiment of the laws of nature. Man. He advocated for a reverence towards the universe, a cosmic religious feeling. Ethics and purpose, he believes, stem from philosophical reflection, not divine command. Oh, man. Boy. The quote breakdown. Let's break it down. Science without religion is lame. It's basically saying science needs moral and ethical direction. I totally agree. You ain't just running around creating things to blow up humanity. It's crazy. You need moral and ethical direction that doesn't require religion. Religion without science is blind. Ethical beliefs must be grounded in reason and evidence. But of course, no shit shall I. Einstein emphasized mutual respect between disciplines, not conflict. Right. Man. And even if he was talking about religion, I always say, yo, yeah, I'm saying there need to be a mutual respect there. As long as they stay in line. Misuse and misunderstanding. Misused by religious apologists to claim Einstein supported organized religion. He did not. Misinterpreted as a call for blending science and religious doctrine. He did not. Einstein was clear. He did not believe in a personal God or religious dogma. His views was more aligned, man, with Spinoza's pantheism and philosophical naturalism. Here's your references and your sources for today's lectures. What in the hell is going on around here, man? Oh, what tangle where we weave when we practice to deceive. Well, there you have it in under an hour. My, oh, what tangle where we weave when we practice to deceive. So check this out, Dumb and Dumber. Before you put the name of a serious, dedicated organization and a title on the platform that we respect, well, get your shit together first before you do that. I don't know who you is, howling and screaming. Don't want to know who you is. Get it together, yo. Do some more reading. You the one is in conflict with the God you believe in, not me. So for today's lesson, man, you do not need religion to have a moral compass about anything. He seems to believe that. You do not need a balance between his religion, colonial religion, and science, because that ain't what the hell Einstein was talking about. I gave the sources, I put it where they were supposed to be at, and man, y'all know what it is, man. Should I drop the link? I don't know. It's Sage. Are y'all going live? What you doing, Sage? Are y'all going live? What you doing? Let me know. Is y'all going live? What y'all doing? I don't know. What y'all doing? I don't need to know. Drop that link. It's going to get hot up in here, man. Y'all know my next thing is to beat up on Chief Facts. I'm going to get him, but I'm going to do a separate show. And I don't want to mix that. 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 I don't want to mix it. All right. All right. So let's drop the link and let's have this conversation. All right. So y'all going Wednesday? That's what you're saying. You're going Wednesday. Man, like and subscribe, man. All right. Drop the link here, man, so we can have some fun, man. Like I said, man, I appreciate all the support from the channels, man. But yeah, man, pseudo killers, man. Drop the link in the Discord, man. Let's have this healthy conversation, man. Running around here messing it all up is ridiculous. I still ain't figured out their name. They're howling and screaming though. Boy, I don't know why they do that. Crazy. Let me see if I can get everybody in here. Driving by. The quick drive by. Man, I appreciate everybody that came through, man. Man. All right, we got the people in the building, man. Let me get my man in here, man. Shazmi, man, long time friend. What's up, Shazmi? How you doing, man?
Hold on. Let me turn the TV down. Hold on.
Get my man in here, man. Shazmi, man.
Yeah. What's happening? Yeah, just tapping in, listening to, information. Information sounding good. I want to make a comment about what Einstein was probably saying. Talking about.
I gave you what he was saying. Go ahead, though.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely hit it on the point. I just wanted, before you had said it, I had already tapped the button. So yeah, talking about religion is lame without science, and science is or vice versa. Yeah, definitely, I agree with with that consensus of without science, because religion is one of those things that opened up, trying to figure out to be aware instead of believing. So yeah, I definitely agree with and it kind of makes it boring. If you didn't have belief before science, it kind of makes science boring. So then you're able to actually prove, somewhat prove some of the things that we believe. Because I definitely would rather know, to be aware, because I can't believe, I can believe that chair will hold me, but until I sit down in that chair, then I know that it will hold me instead of believing. I'd rather know than to believe. You know what I mean?
That's a fact, Shazmo.
Yeah.
All right, Shazmo, I'm gonna bring somebody else up, man. We're gonna keep this thing moving today, man. That's how we doing it, man. Appreciate you for stopping through, man. That made a lot of sense, bro. Appreciate you, man.
No doubt.
All right. Man, my next. What's going on, Joe? How you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
What it do? Pseudo killers in the building.
You know what it is, man. You see how they mess it all up. All of you see how they do that, bro.
Man, look. I listened to most of that show. I was laughing. But kind of impeached himself while he was doing it because he was making all them statements about how religion helps you, and then he turned around and made a statement about how religion affected people negatively and canceled out all the good work he did. I was like, dang, yo. I should have clipped it. I was cracking up, man. I was at work. It was hot. I was up on the roof.
You was on the roof burning up. That's
yeah, burning up. I said, man, did he just do what I thought he did? But somebody on the show even said it to him. They said, man, you just canceled out what you. I was rolling. But you know what? Let me say this. So, religion really is a hindrance to science unless the person who is engaging in science is open-minded enough to be able to put religion in its context, in its cultural context, right? And then be able to view it from a standpoint where they're looking at it like this is just my own personal feelings and belief that I do for my own mental, feelings and stability. Like as long as they just personalize it and then don't try to like force it on others and battle about it and just understand that this is just other cultures, ancient cultures, trying to figure stuff out, or even present day cultures trying to figure stuff out, without using science, then I think you're good. But to try to say that you need them both in order to survive, I think is a misnomer.
Yeah, because what they really mean is Christianity. Stay right here, Joe. Let me listen to somebody else. Uncle Millionaire, what's up?
What's up, Unc? I thought you wasn't gonna let me up.
Yeah, that's all in your mind.
I
Believe in
debate.
brain.
All in your mind to believe in
brain.
I mean, shit, I was sitting up here for the longest.
Yeah, that's how we do it now. We let them up, let them down. What's up, though? It's good.
And my belief is based off the experience I've had with you. I want to debate you and everybody on the church. I've been asking for it for the longest.
I don't do no. I'm retired on that, yo.
You want to debate on it? What you going to debate on the church?
Huh?
You want to debate on
the church? I think the church played a
Yeah,
valuable
because
role.
they keep talking.
I think the church played a valuable role.
Well, you talk a lot about churches and church people and religion. I want to debate the whole overall need of church and religion in our communities, and I want to debate the conscious community. That's all I'm here for.
Oh yeah.
I want to debate my beliefs versus yours, and I want to show the results of our beliefs.
Oh yeah,
you lump all Christians in.
Oh yeah, you can. No, I don't. Look, this is what you can do. We got Paradigm here, bro. They do some good debate shows. They got a lot of people.
I just listen to your stream, man. Come on, I don't play these goofy games.
He's done it for you,
With church.
No, you heard my stream. My stream ain't had nothing to do with that. Nah, my stream ain't had nothing to do with that. That ain't what my stream had something to do with. It had something to do with them two ridiculous dudes who try to act right. So I would debate you. No, I ain't going to debate you, but I will have a conversation with you that Christianity,
No, you ain't.
The Christianity ain't the God, and Christianity ain't the religion for humanity and all that bullshit. Come on, dog. And it's enslavement, all that. Come on, dog.
And it's enslavement, all that.
And you double.
So you changed your standpoint on churches?
Nah, man,
I think he got his YouTube open.
You changed your standpoint on churches?
You got to turn the YouTube. You messed up the stream right now.
You changed? No, it ain't on.
All right, go ahead. You got.
YouTube not on?
Oh, he good. He good
now. Good now?
All right, you good.
He good now.
All right, you good.
So you changed your stance on the churches?
No, I ain't changed. What you mean? Church is an institution in the black community.
Church is
It's an institution.
Right.
Yeah,
so
that's yours.
Do you feel that? Yeah. Do you feel black people don't need to go to church?
Nah, I don't care. I don't care if a person go to church or not.
Nah, I don't care.
Not at all, bro.
Yeah, I got this nigga scared. He know not to debate me.
Nah, bro, I'm not scared of what? Why? I walk through this bitch without no fear at all, dog. But I'm not dumb. I'm not stupid. My whole family's in the church, yo. I don't think church is a wild and crazy. I don't think that. I'm saying is that trying to mix science with that is ridiculous and crazy. Don't make no damn sense. Right.
Somebody's still doubling up.
Doubling up. Yeah, I got it.
Somebody's still doubling up.
You gotta come out and come back in. I can't do this, yo. You messed up the stream, yo. Go out and come back in, yo. What's up, Cedric?
What it do? What it do? What it do? Excellent drive.
What up, Ced?
What it do, Joel? I'm gonna get straight to the point. I don't know what it is. Cloud chasing has become a thing. I've never been an ego tripper. As everyone knows, I do stage performances. And after all those 500-600 people, they sit there clapping for you, it has a tendency to go to your head. So you know what I did after the show? I would go to the neighborhood, just sit on the block with my dudes, and they would book me up and, hey, what you doing? And they would have no idea where I came from. So I've always been someone that stayed grounded and centered. But you're calling out the pseudo killers, and the first rule you must understand: the pseudo killers never acquiesce to a faulty premise.
Correct.
Your whole premise is flawed. It's based on a false equivocation. At the end of the day, science does its thing and makes no argument for or against religion or gods. The supernatural doesn't interest science. Yet, every time these religious people attempt to justify their existence, they lean on the same science that they try to discredit.
It's crazy.
It is the wildest thing possible. This man did a whole lecture using science. There was not one religious point made in his whole diatribe. He even referred to Robert Sapolsky.
Oh, man. No, he didn't.
So to see the ludicrousy, the wildness, the insane nature of these individuals, it was just a comedy show. This man is so insecure. He needs religion. He needs science to justify his existence. Yeah. Well, we can hold hands, though. Well, why can't we hold hands? You know, you paint the picture, right? Science is in this big fortress. We got the biometrics. We got all the vaccines. We got all the technology. All humanity is living good within this bubble called science. And at the door, you have these religious folks, right? You see the picture of religion knocking at the gate, come in, the biometrics, everything, they can't get in. And behind them is COVID-6 chasing up on their asses because they're all unvaccinated. Now they're knocking at the door. You want to get in. His whole build was based in a logical fallacy, an appeal to emotion, a non sequitur, and then the straw manning of atheists. We come on these platforms and we teach scientific literacy. When you reach to the point that you're comfortable in who you are, you have no need to attack other folks. We live in a Western world where our whole culture is based in religion. Every year we celebrate Christmas. Let's not forget it. So to be on this whole zealot trip, to be on this whole quest of trying to knock that. No, man, when you bring your ideas, your belief to me, I simply am not convinced by your argument. My level of empiricism goes beyond a supernatural claim without no evidence to support it. That's just not how I flow. What's the problem?
You know what? I think like Uncle Millionaire came up here and was trying to debate me. Like, I understand, like, the church was like one of the first institutions, you know what I'm saying, that black people had to lean on, bro. It was buildings and shit like that nature where you could go and try to just clear your mind and get into your own thing. And they launched like successful things out of that. The civil rights movement, all that was based around that. I mean, come on, yo, like, that's a dumb argument. A debate what did more for the black community, atheism or the black church? What the fuck? And you know how many African Americans was in the church? Like, that's a dumb. I'm not dumb. That's
That
dumb.
has nothing to do with me believing in a God or not.
Yeah,
That's
pick up the Miss Tiff, pseudo official. Right. That's a whole different thing. If you ask me this, right, I'm gonna let Shalimbe get through. Pick up Shalimbe, pseudo official, right? Listen, if you was to say to me, what's most important to humans? I'm gonna say science. Why am I say that? Because I tell you what, if you really want to get it in, if you was to throw away science and technology, right? You would end up sitting by a damn tree in the Stone Age, looking at the damn sky like this.
We be in trouble at that point.
You be like this, look. I'm trying to tell you, man. Like, I'm thinking people is thinking. They're not thinking with me. And then to be an African American, and see, I got empathy and sympathy for African Americans, bro. But when you get a little bit too loud and trying to run this wild game on me about the Christian this and Christian that and how important Christian is, and I'm saying, but wait a minute, do you really care that much? Do you really think religion is that important? Is it? What's up, Chilimbe? Let you through. I was about to go. I had to take a breath. I was getting along. I'm going on.
What's up? What's up?
Juju pseudo kill in the building. What's up? What's going on, man?
Chill. What's up, Chill?
What's up, Joel? I see you. I hear you up here, Joel, trying to do your thing. Sad peace. What's up, Sad?
Peace, chill. Let me shout out my sister, my island sister, Juju.
Oh, y'all just came back from. I'm glad she got back safe on the island. Messing with you, boy. I know she didn't get no sleep, no rest, no nothing.
None. Not one drop of sleep.
Messing with you out there, Cedric. Shoot. The hell, boy. What's up, baby? What's on your mind, though, bro? Talk to us. Interesting, right?
I found that stream to be irrational.
Right.
And that's me being the best I can be.
You
know, I'm trying to it definitely was incoherent. And it fundamentally just doesn't understand some of the terms, right? So I listened to him talk about rituals. Again, misunderstanding, misrepresenting. They talk about agency, not understanding that hyper agency is one of the conditions for religion.
Right.
And it's a neuroscience response. So I was just disturbed overall. I've seen a few streams over this past week and a half. You got Asar M. Ka bringing answers in Genesis and right-wing Christian propaganda on a conscious community stream. It makes no sense. That's like going to the KKK and begging for help. I don't understand that logic.
The humanity.
You got a stream coming on Paradigm Shift with two radical Christians who don't know they following some foolishness, don't understand the cultural context in which Christianity was developed, not understanding how Black people came to understand Christianity. And I want to make this statement. Our ancestors here in America used the tools that was available to them to liberate themselves.
Correct.
That don't mean the tool was good. It's just a tool they had to use.
That's all you got, bro.
And now that we have reached a plateau where we can now decide for ourselves, we don't have to accept that.
Correct.
We ain't got to accept that. And if you think we have to, then you're grossly misunderstood. You grossly just don't understand the development of human nature and societies. And so, you know, I listened to it. They hee ha ha, crack jokes, but basically they was incoherent. They didn't know what they were talking about. They misrepresented sources. I got one of those, you know, I love looking at people's sources.
I know you do.
And one of those sources he used definitely ain't saying what he said. They actually saying the opposite. I got it. I'm gonna put it in the Discord. I actually went and got the whole PDF because I found it very fat. Oh, it's about the lady about the art. the lady, she talking about art and all like that. She not saying nothing
Oh yeah,
religious in that whole thing. What
yeah,
she talking about is, let's say you're a painter, right? And before you start to paint, you wash your brushes every time. She's talking about that type stuff, the ritualistic things that they go through, how they
yes,
view their work based on those type of behavior patterns, which are found across numerous domains of human existence. Baseball players, they hit their bat against their right shoe. You understand? They switch
Yeah.
gloves and all that type stuff
all
is
have a
in right. All have ritualistic behavior patterns that, in some arguments, we say religion hijacked. So they hijack these other functional parts of the brain that have evolutionary purposes, and they
Right.
create a system that we call religion.
Right.
But you can't now absorb religion and override the evolutionary process and not fully explain it, because one of
exactly.
the key components to evolution is that there is no agency involved. It's random by natural selection.
So they're
Yep.
gonna use that. That doesn't even make no sense. And then when you talk, you know, when you look at humans and human behaviors, man, hell, you know, I got my favorite psychologist on this joke, Andy, right? Dr. Andy, man, he talks about how religion actually co-opts that, right? He also talks about how when human beings are superstitious, right? You know, we do things. For instance, if I'm a Raven fan and underneath my jersey I wear a shirt of say Lamar Jackson, and we win every time I got it on, yo. So I'm making that correlation right there in my brain. My believing brain got me thinking that. And the next time I don't wear it, we lose. I'm like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? Come on. So at the end of the day, a batter when he comes up the bat, right? Since we fail at hitting, baseball players fail at hitting more often than they fail in the field of catching the ball. And so you do all kind of stuff. Because last time you did all this and do all that and hold on, right? You got to hit. So you do it over and over and over and over again. That becomes your ritual. So ancient people, yeah, I'm saying, hell, when a volcano destroyed the daggone town or the village, shit, they wanted to feed we ain't feed the gods right. Because they failed to save themselves in that situation. So they had to try to do something else. So he all over the place, man. Don't use evolutionary theory to fight against science. This is the most ridiculous thing ever.
That was the most hilarious and ridiculous part of his whole diatribe. At a certain point, he's talking about brain plasticity, that's neuroscience, and how maths help you develop brain plasticity. Then he does a stretch 04 from the Fantastic Four and jumps into religion, and because of its abstract nature, it's equivalent to working on math problems. Are you out of your mind?
I think they be out of their mind on
I
purpose.
also noticed that they interchange belief and faith. So if you read the source, they talking about how humans have a tendency to believe,
Right.
and they say, well, that's faith. You know what I'm saying? Like, but no, that's not the same thing. They're not interchangeable.
Yeah. We
You know what I'm
have
saying?
belief
So,
based on pattern recognition. The
Wait
breaks
a
were
minute. What makes them different? Let's talk about that. What makes them different? What makes
evidence
faith
based.
different from belief?
I believe my breaks is going to work because of the evidence, because of them having worked before. It is evidence based. Although I realize that they can fail, I have a belief that they can work because that has been proven before. It is evidence based versus a metaphysical claim for which we have no substantiation.
Oh, okay. So in other words, you're saying faith is a thing where you don't have anything to build it on. You just believe it just simply because.
Yeah, look over there in the corner. There's nothing there, but believe that there's a bottle there. Now just trust me, have faith, believe that there's a bottle there. I know you can't see it, but believe that there's a bottle in the corner there. That's blind faith. That's religious faith. Whereas I believe my brakes is going to work, that's based on evidence. I believe the plane is going to land safely. Why? We have evidence of that more so than a plane crashing. Although we know that there's a likelihood that an accident can happen, we have that faith, that belief because of evidence. Two different things.
But you know, yeah, that's true. You make some good examples and points. Here's the thing, though. So for most folks who are Christians, you know, what they're going to say is, well, God has did some work in my life, so I got some stuff that I believe based on the work that He's did in my life. You know what I mean? Like I prayed to get a job, and you know, next week I ended up
Yes,
with one. You know what I'm
yes.
saying?
And we understand those anecdotal accounts. They are there. They are there to pacify and soothe the one that has no empirical data. The one that's going to do exactly what? Pattern recognition. Oh, I prayed and I got my keys. They're going to remember the hits but forget the misses. What about
Okay, okay.
why aren't you why didn't you win the lotto? I know you prayed about it.
I did, man. I prayed like twice too.
Yeah, we got
Get
all
that.
I mean, you know what I don't understand, man? Like when dude popped up wanted to debate me over, like I'm not one of the people that say, what's better? If you ask me what's better for humanity, religion or science and technology, I'm gonna say science and technology. Because what you believe can be separate from that.
Yep.
But that don't work anyway, because I mean, hold up. Let me say this. That don't make no sense, because which church we gonna use as our litmus to
Right.
say you gonna believe? It's like 1,000 of them up there jumping.
Which one we picking? You know what I'm saying? Who we picking? It's crazy. Man, it's the human endeavor to believe, but it ain't got to be the human endeavor to believe in being a Christian, though. That's for damn sure. Humanity was fine 350,000 years. Christianity or Islam is the last one, and I'm sure more will come after that. It's crazy to think that. Yeah, so that's just remarkable how that stream went, man. So I don't know, man. I know Andy did a great job on that. Make sure y'all go to Community Skeptics. Is it on the Community Skeptics or Shooter Killers? I'm not quite sure. Oh, it might have been
It's
on.
on the Community of Skeptics. I think that show was on the Community of Skeptics.
Okay, that's a great show for y'all. But type in, go to, let me see. What y'all can do is just go right to the our playlist and interviews with the experts. Let's see. Let me show y'all, and then go to the brain shows on the pseudo killers, man. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. It's all there. Like you wouldn't even, like I don't even be over here bashing on religion till it raises its ugly head. I let it sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't tripping. I ain't really tripping. I mean I ain't worried about where you believe, how you believe, why you believe. Like I don't care. Like that ain't getting in the way of what I'm doing. I already know most people's gonna be religious. Right, that's a losing battle.
What up, What up, Chill? What up, Said? What up, Joel?
Sabio, what up, dude? How's
What
it
up,
going, young
Sabio?
brother?
What's on your mind, Sabio?
Oh man, just
Hold on.
enjoying
Hey,
the.
Sabio. Hey, Sabio,
What up?
there's a video in the Discord that's talking about a distinction in slavery during Roman times. You should look at the video. They got a couple of sources in there you might like.
All right, I will. Good looking out.
I tag you in the video so you can grab it.
For sure. Appreciate that. Just enjoying the information, and I can put some names to the pseudos on that show because I'm familiar with
Oh, but I
both
don't
of them.
put their names though on my show. How about that?
Cool. I won't even say them.
Yeah, they ain't
But
earned that right. They ain't earned that right. They using signs to beat themselves up. I ain't never seen nothing like it in my life.
But see, I was in the back chat with both of them. A paradigm shift back chat before the first paradigm shift channel. And they did that all the time. Every argument that they presented, me, Rocky, and a few other atheists and non-believers debunked them, defeated them. But they don't want to learn. And it's because of what? Their belief. They don't care about anything that y'all presented, anything that's ever been presented, the cultural context of Christianity, the wars that were fought, because that's what they are. They're Christian soldiers marching into battle. Think about that battle cry, that song that was that, and that who they are in their mind. So it's like we're fighting a battle that can't be won with certain people. And those are the people that are going to continue to misuse science because they use science. They need science. Without science, they wouldn't have their arguments, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what I was. Yeah,
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Hey, check this out. You know what I think a lot of people really struggle with? Because I am saying a lot. The morality side of it. They always be like, well, you can't have no morality without religion. It's like, so I noticed that a lot of people feel like humans won't make a judgment to take care of each other without God in the mix. Even though we got plenty of cases of it happening, they don't really, they don't think about that kind of stuff. And so they feel that strongly within themselves that without something, to tell them that they won't do it. So go ahead.
Religion always hijacks the advancements of science and secular morality. The Bible is evidence of that. Why the Bible can't change. Yet all those tenets that were morally acceptable in the Bible, there is not one religious institution other than the Hebrews, these wild Hebrews, that adhere to the moral code that exists in the Bible. No church and no state is going to tell you you have to impregnate your sister, your brother's wife if he dies. We would consider that immoral. It is immoral for a father to sell his daughter for marriage. We consider these things immoral. Slavery and its tenets and its whole structure, we consider immoral. Our legal system states that every individual has to stand responsible for his own deeds. The biblical code, where there's a scapegoat, is immoral. So the Bible is a document that they use as a shield, but they don't actually apply none of those things in their moral compass because they use secular moral codes to incorporate into their religious beliefs.
Yeah.
What it do?
And you know what's interesting, and I think everyone should get this book. I was able to get a PDF of it, Why the Bible Began, by Jacob L. Wright. I was able to get the full book PDF, the free. Typed it in the chat, in the search bar, and it pulled up the whole book.
So I absolutely agree that morality has been hijacked by religion in general, man. And Joel made a good point. Like, people don't believe and never really put that much thought into it that men can progress and, I want to say evolve morality, right? Evolve into morality, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't have it, at 100%. We don't have it perfected right now. There's some still things that immoral that men do that I would think that's immoral, but I would agree with Joel and said that you don't need religion or God to come to some type of morality. And people will say just because morality can be potentially subjective, that it's not substantial, right? That since it's subjective, that it means that it's not valid. And I would have to disagree with that. But the reason why I came on is because I was wanting to know what was the argument that you guys were making, or what is the premise that you can't have religion without science, or religion and science goes hand in hand. Like, I kind of missed it. I came in late, so.
No, he misrepresented Einstein. He misrepresented Einstein.
I did.
Organized religion.
Who misrepresented Einstein?
I don't know. I don't know the guy. I don't even care to say the guy. I don't even remember the damn names. But
I know their names
on the Jerry show. Yeah, but why you so wanting to just get these niggas' names, Joe?
Yeah, I don't want to say
absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things, Joe. When you misuse sources and signs, bro, you ain't even worthy of your name being mentioned, yo.
Give me the premise, like what's the contention?
Einstein wasn't talking about organized religion at all when he made his statement. Einstein makes this statement right here. Let me show
you talking about where he says like God don't play with, what he say, like it's not dice or something to do with dice. God doesn't play dice or something like that.
Not at all.
Okay. He made a statement like that.
Einstein makes the statement: science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. He wasn't meaning none of that. Go back and watch the show. He wasn't meaning none of that. Religious people misuse his thing. Okay, they misuse and misunderstand what the hell the man was saying. All right, he wasn't talking about no personal God. He wasn't talking about none of that. All right, and they came on there running their mouth about that, shooting down the hard work of people who really dedicated to getting this thing right, yo. Like, you're not gonna find too many spaces where you can get it right. And you'll find a lot of people disagree with us. They disagree with us because they not understanding science. Like, there's some issues we got, right? And I think if you sat down with a real teacher, I can't do it. I don't got it. I can't get through to you. But if you sit down with an expert, yo, they would have the words to get you straight. If you would even take a class, a fundamental class on it, you would get it, bro. Because I think you got the acumen to get that, right? I'm just not the one to get it to you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sitting up here making up stuff. I'm not sitting up here pushing atheism on somebody. What's up?
Hey, let me drop something on dude. Hey, dude, what's up, dude? Jealousies? Good hearing from you, champion. Bro. Peace to you, bro. So look, let me say this. One of the biggest issues with that presentation is that the guy did hard to try to say that you need them both, right? And I'm gonna tell you, religion practice outside of his cultural context and understanding is diametrically opposed to science. And what I mean by that is, there's a lot of things that a lot of these, because we follow a lot of real old religions. We don't follow no new stuff. We be hooked up in some stuff, books that was written back in 500-600 BC, right? And these individuals understand stuff the way they understand it. If they stick to their religion, they're not accepting evolution.
No,
they're not accepting the cosmos. They're not, like, all these things. Where people come from, they gonna think all of us came from three dudes, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to understand it. So I'm gonna shut up. I just want to say that when someone is hyper religious and cannot put it in its proper context, they are not accepting science. I'm gonna tell you that now. All right, go.
So check it out. This is what I would extend. I would extend to them an olive branch, and we'll put it in this context. The only way that science and religion can be without each other is in the context of how science started, right? Like natural philosophy and religious and metaphysics, it all comes down the same lane. And without those, it wouldn't have never evolved into science. So that's the only kind of grace I would have gave them. But now, like here in the present, they are diametrically opposed. I wouldn't say you can't have one with the other and they coincide. But the proto is religion and natural philosophy, and it kind of evolved into science.
No. You couldn't even reach the level of science mixing your religion in. That's what held us back for 350,000 years. Matter of fact, let me establish something. Human beings don't live without beliefs. See, it's a fundamental mistake being made, period, across the board. Human beings believe. Yeah, simple as that, right? But they ain't gotta believe in goddamn religion to be human. Part of belief is being human. That's part of our makeup. That got us through. It still gets you through. If you believe there's danger down the street, bro, and you don't go, it can very well save your life. You don't gotta be scientific with that. The inkling, right? You going down an alley, you say, boy, I might feel danger there. Ain't gotta be no danger there. That can save you one day. So the point that I really want to emphasize here, that the very brain itself, the believing brain, is got beliefs all in it. But it was co-opted by religion. That's the point. Niggas don't need religion. You don't need religion to be moral. You don't need religion to have a wedding ceremony. You don't need religion to take care of your children and your babies. You don't need none of that. And I would even argue that in today's world, right, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism is definitely a colonizing tool around the world. Hell, what the hell you think we was at a standstill for a minute in Israel? What you think that's about?
That's true.
Fighting against the damn Christians. What the hell is we talking about here? They're proselytizing religions. Islam and Christianity, they proselytize.
I want to take it a step.
African people.
I want to take it a step further because the words religion
You're
did.
not going to step forward in the middle of me talking. I'm teaching right now. Let me get my thing out. The point I want to make very, very clear at the end of the day, right, is that if people care so much about goddamn religion, then why not go back to your own ancestor shrines then?
They're not doing that one.
They ain't doing that because you know they ain't real religion. Because you know that's devil worship. That's animal sacrifice, right?
Paganism.
But you know what I was. But
So
you know what
we
I
got
was.
something. Hold on, we got something right here. Baltimore Bandit say when science lacks spirit, that's ridiculous. He made a ridiculous statement right there. It becomes cold, mechanical, and even dangerous. When religion lacks reason, it becomes dogmatic, controlling. Hey man, come on, tripping.
Spirit means Sprite, so I'll obey my thirst.
Sprite without no Sprite.
I thought spirit meant breath.
He said to me.
So
go ahead, due diligence.
So I wanted to take it a step further too. I do agree with you that religious was a part of colonization, and now I think it's even evolved even further because now we have politics and AKA democracy, right? Whenever we spread in democracy, that's neo-colonism too. So it stemmed from religion, and then religion people started getting hip to that. Then it become to democracy. We spread in democracy. Now that's neo-colonization. So I wanted to add that little tidbit too.
So I was finna ask a question, but I just basically did what I was finna do when he said about going back to the old religions. But the other thing I was going to ask, how about why everybody isn't worshiping one of the oldest gods that the Proto-Europeans, the Indo-Europeans was worshiping, Dayus Pater.
Oh yeah,
Indo-Europeans. I thought
that was a long one. So here you go with religion. Point taken. Religion is arranged. Look, this is exactly what slavery does, right? So if religion is a range of social cultural systems, then being colonized by Islam and Christianity would actually disrupt. Look, it would disrupt your social cultural system. Do y'all get that?
I do.
All right. Look, now it includes designated behaviors. Slavery disrupt designated behaviors and practices, morals. It changes your moral codes, right? Your beliefs. Remember, it was illegal to believe. Like your indigenous tribe, you told me they took that. They did it to the Native Americans. It's what they used to crush you. Once you lose your social political system, you are erased, right? It says worldview. It changes your worldview. We hear people right now. They anti-African American and don't even know your worldview is twisted. Like Daddy, just in conversation, I ain't never seen so many racist black people in my life. When it came to Kamala Harris, I ain't never in my life seen so many racist black people. When it came to the P. Diddy thing, I ain't never in my life seen so many anti-women racist things. Nigga won't even stop to think. That's because your behaviors, your cultural systems has been disrupted. You know what you feel is a sacred text, right? Sacred places, sanctified places. Your prophecies, your ethics, all these things have changed. The way you organize things is different. Okay, your supernatural beliefs is changed. Whole 9 yards. So it's important to know exactly what you lost so you can at least gain that back. And you're only going to gain it back through the study of science. Science, anthropology will tell you where you at. I'm not saying go back to your old religions because even religions evolve and even things go out of style. That's not what I'm actually saying. I'm saying at least know what the hell you talking about for you to start opening your mouth about what we teach and what we do. Learn that. Learn something about religion first. Okay? And the disruption that Christianity brought to African Americans, how it disrupted us. I don't want to hear about the Bantu thing. Like take you all the way back to ancient Christianity. Well, ancient Christianity was a disruptive force. It started. I don't want to hear that. Just because we use the term African don't mean that we don't have enough sense to know, like, there's a difference between the French, the British, the Russians, the Americans. They're different. So it's different between Ghana, right? Ghanaians, Khoisan. They're different. We don't clump them all together. Ethiopians, Nile Valley Africans, they're all different Africans unto themselves. They try to clump you all together. And now there's a new wave to move North Africa out of Africa. I heard a nigga say, what? North Africans ain't Africans? Yeah. We're going to get on that one today. So yes, colonization was a disruptive force. And the main thing that was very disruptive was taking away from your social cultural system. That's the thing that got you locked in. And so when I hear African Americans promote colonialism at levels crazy, I don't even get it. Because if that's your personal belief, then let it be your personal belief. Did you not learn your lesson? Did you not read the Papyrus Bulls? Man, Seth, you want to add something to that? How about you, due diligence?
No, I think you nailed it on the head. You know, at this day and age, I think religion is becoming obsolete. Science is king. I think one did help spawn the other, you know, and they diverged. You know, that's my position. So,
Yeah. So I'll end with this right here. Not unless somebody else want to come up, drop the link.
Yeah, I just want to add this. Again, when we get on these platforms, we teach scientific literacy. We are, some of us, not all the pseudo killers are hardcore atheists. We got a range of different belief systems amongst us. And I want to just conclude with that point Ankh was making. Knowledge is a subset of belief. All things start with belief. It is human nature. Without belief, you do not take a step forward. However, belief is where things start. The next step is knowing. And there are processes to knowing. There are things you can know, you can understand. So when you need to hijack science to make your God claims and then turn around and try to deny science, you're incoherent, you're irrational, and you're just emotional.
Joel is funny.
I'm with Cedric.
You funny,
I'm
Joel.
with Cedric.
You funny. God ain't gonna spirit means Sprite, so I obey my thirst.
I stole that from a rapper. I stole that from a rapper. Hey, look.
We all gonna burn in hell, man.
I know, man. Y'all look, man. Y'all gonna have my church looking at me sideways. Hey, but you know what? I agree with Cedric, man. You know, because look, listen. Until people can get to the point, right, that they can take an honest look at religion, right, and that's the hardest thing for people to do. See, one of the things about taking a hard look at religion is that, like, for like I talked about the morality thing, but then you also got this. So there you go. Here's another one, another cliffhanger. You know, when you take a hard look at religion and you finally recognize that this is coming from people, it takes away the divinity and validity of the Bible, and that's like a punch to the chest, man.
Yeah,
you know, that really hurts. You know, and so people, they shy away from that. You know, because if you're challenged, like if your Bible isn't the unadulterated word of God, then a lot of people feel like they've lost everything. You follow what I'm saying? So they're gonna stay in the motion. They're not gonna do what Cedric talking about. They're gonna stay in the motion because that's a safe hiding place. So I just want to say that.
So we put this up here to show you, so you can just see. We're not just sitting here making this up. This is actually what occurred. This is wild. lines divide the non-Christian world between the Castile and Portugal in 1494. All right, Tordelius. Look,
age of discovery.
It's the age of discovery, bro.
Yep.
And I don't think we educate enough on that, yo. You see them purple lines, yo? The dotted line of purple line. Like, what are we doing, yo?
It's royal purple because the Pope decreed it. That's why it's purple.
I didn't make that up. This side is over there. All right. We know the Spain got that side with the Americas, right? And Portugal got, Africa. Craziest thing ever, bro. This is bananas. Human beings, right? Misuse of technology at its highest levels. Crazy. This is what Christianity did for you. And then we come here for you. We come here to make sure we understand it. We come to a document, a real document here. All right. Gilder. Here you go. Right here. Institutes right here. All right. It's right here. Here's your resources. Doctrine of Discovery, 1843. But we ain't just sitting around just talking and saying it is what it is.
What date? What date is that?
That says 14. This one right here is 1493.
Thank you.
Spotlight, primary source, Pope Alexander VI.
The arrogance.
Right here.
I tried to tell him.
The arrogance. Y'all need to stop and think for a moment. The arrogance. Pull that map up again, Uncle. Show them where the Iberian Peninsula is and the decision that little spot decided for the rest of humanity.
Of the world. Right.
Go right here.
Look at where Spain is. Look at where the Iberian Peninsula is. That little thingy there decided that they could do this with the whole world.
Yeah, it's right.
Oh man, don't say that was the church that did that. Y'all not saying that, are you?
Let's read it. Come on, let's read it.
No, don't read it. Don't read it.
It's right here, yo. The Papa's Bull Interior Criteria issued by the Pope Alexander VI on May 4th, 1493, played a central role in the Spanish conquest of the New World. The document supported Spain's strategy to ensure its exclusive right to the lands discovered by Columbus. You got nuts out here talking about Columbus didn't exist. So when you take that away from our babies, that Columbus didn't do this, do that, you're actually affecting how we understand history. You actually affecting how we understand how the role Christianity played in colonialism. Columbus, the previous year, it established a demarcation line. I didn't make this up. 100 leagues west of Azores and Cape Verde Island, and assigned Spain exclusive rights to acquire terrestrial possession and to trade in all lands west of the line. All others was forbidden to approach the lands west of the line without special license from the rulers of Spain. This effectively gave Spain a monopoly on the lands in the New World, man. What is we talking about right here? Watch this. The bull stated that any land not inhabited by Christians. The bull stated that any lands not inhabited by Christians,
not by people,
was available to be discovered, claimed, and exploited by Christian rulers, right? And declared that the Catholic faith and the Christian religion be exalted and be everywhere increased and spread. Look, that the health of the souls, that's why I don't mess with that word because it's dumb. Look, be cared for, and that the barbarous nations be overthrown and brought to the faith itself. The Doctrine of Discovery became the basis of all European claims of the Americas and the foundation of the United States Western expansion. What are we talking about here?
So wait a minute. You mean that they actually said that if the people are there, just subdue them?
Yeah. They ain't got no souls if they ain't Christian.
Automatically, regardless of their internal political system or social structures, that land belonged to Spain. Done.
Hey, Uncle and
Doesn't
Cedric.
matter. We listening. What's up?
Sabio, wait a minute, y'all. Hold up. So y'all, because y'all know I'm the Christian in the bill. So y'all telling me the Christians was breaking the 8th commandment, you shall not steal?
Yeah, they was doing
Hell yeah, they was breaking the 8th commandment.
They rewrote it,
All
Joel.
the commandments.
They
What's
rewrote
wrong
it.
with you?
I'm going on.
They were
I'm going on me.
They were murdering.
Murder,
What?
steal, rape, pillage.
They were breaking all the commandments. They were lying.
They wrote a new commandment. The papal bull is a new commandment. Y'all got this confused. You see, the Pope is the God figure on earth. So just like Moses, he went up and got a new commandment. Y'all getting it? Don't mix things up. It's divinely inspired.
Divinely inspired.
I ain't gonna let y'all jump me like this. I'm going live tomorrow with JJ. I'm fighting y'all back.
Hey, here's the actual document right here, bro. So my point is, and people's excuse will be, well, you know, they weren't the real Christians. Well, we don't know what the real Christians are. We have no idea what a real Christian is. How we know?
Yeah, the no true Scotsman fallacy will be live and kicking. But this coming from the church, though, the Pope. So if the founder of all the rest of these denominations, y'all still use that singular book, which is called the Bible, which was put together by the councils from the same institution. I'm just saying that did all this. I'm just saying.
It's real, bro. Man, hit that link if y'all want to get up in here, man. I just wanted to put some primary sources in the air so y'all know this ain't no joke. This is real. This happened, and it affected us.
Jesus saves.
Big time. It did.
Institute of American History, man. The Doctrine of Discovery. This is the primary doctrine right here, yo. Primary document. Read the thing for yourself, ingest it, and recognize. So if you want to know why I'm not a damn Christian, I'm not a damn Christian, bro. Because my ancestors suffered under the hands of Christianity and Islam. They did. And so I feel like it's disrespectful. Once you get to a certain level of reading and understanding, it's disrespectful to me. You understand? I ain't on your head because you ain't reached that level of understanding. But I got enough sense to know, hell, if I want to practice a religion, let me just make up my own if that's the point.
I mean, the Stockholm syndrome and the battered wife syndrome is obviously evident, especially if you see the level of passion that these two individuals were making their point with. The spirited, emotional rhetoric is a symptom of battered wife syndrome. There can't be nothing else. This is wild. Y'all hate me. Y'all hate me because I refuse to accept the instrument of my enslavement. Wild.
People are. They're just like that. That's just who they are. They're overly zealous for they belief.
So I'm gonna hit them because they don't listen to us not unless we bring an expert in here. So I'm gonna ride out with my man.
They ain't gonna listen to no expert neither.
They agree with us.
Right. Well, go ahead and play it, man.
I ain't never in my life heard so much incoherency across the board, bro. You know what? Let me play a little bit of this, man. This is crazy. This.
Yeah, for
I was gonna say, but it was 9/11 that started all this.
Okay. All right. Well, there we have it, man. Let's get right into it. We got a lot of information. We're gonna have time for questions from the audience, man. We want to really get into this build. I think it's very important for the Black community to be able to access information that they're not really familiar with. Super solid. And you know what? Let's go, Andy. I'm gonna put up your presentation, man. Let's get right into this, man.
Okay. I can't see you, so is it okay to start?
Yeah, you good.
Okay.
Let's go. I'm pulling everybody out the thing off the stage. Let's go.
On the dogmas of religion, as distinguished from moral principles, all mankind, from the beginning of the world to the present day, have been fighting, quarreling, burning, and torturing one another over abstractions unintelligible to themselves and to all others, and absolutely beyond the comprehension of the human mind. Thomas Jefferson wrote those words in 1816. And the essence of my talk today is this. Should you run into Mr. Jefferson next week, you could say to him, no, Mr. President, religion is no longer beyond the comprehension of the human mind. We are tantalizingly close to a comprehensive psychology, a comprehensive cognitive neuroscience of religious belief. We understand how and why human minds generate religious beliefs and why we are all vulnerable to them. The basic mechanisms are increasingly being laid out. Robust theories, empirical evidence. And we are in that position, Mr. President, because in 1816, when you wrote those words, there was a 7-year-old boy in England, Charles Darwin, who would grow up to give us the only workable explanation we have for the design of all life on Earth, the design and architecture of all life on Earth, including the design and architecture of the human mind. And when Darwin published his great work, The Origin of Species, he knew that his discovery would illuminate psychology. Psychology will be based on a new foundation. And it took us about 150 years to start really applying evolutionary theory to the human mind and the architecture of the human mind. And it's pieces of that architecture, evolved pieces of that architecture that go into generating religious beliefs and religious ideas. What are my goals today? My goals are to give you the basic mechanisms that we all carry that evolve for other purposes that leave us vulnerable to supernatural beliefs and to religious beliefs. And what I'd like to do, first of all, again, is to, thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for coming out on a Saturday afternoon to hear this. I very much appreciate the opportunity. Let me give you a little bit of a roadmap of what we're going to do. And you might want to have something to write on, because occasionally I will give you some references that I think you want to look up, and you may want to keep a little scorecard as we go through this. Another way of thinking about what I'm going to do, it's going to be like a 10-course tapas meal, okay? They're going to be 10 courses. And the first is going to be the modern Darwinian synthesis. The second is going to be human evolution. The third will be the basic structure of religious ideas. The fourth will be on junk food and pornography. If you understand the psychology of junk food and pornography, you will understand the psychology of religion. The fifth course is about attachment. And the attachment mechanism may be the foundational cognitive mechanism that we have that forms the basis of religion. Then we will talk for the sixth serving of something called decoupled cognition, which is what allows us to imagine souls, imagine an afterlife. Then the seventh thing will be something called, the seventh serving will be hyperactive agency detection mechanisms and minimally counterintuitive worlds. And again, these are psychological mechanisms that we all carry and utilize in our everyday life that go into religious belief. The eighth serving will be something called theory of mind. And basically that is, you can think about what other people are thinking, what their beliefs, wishes, and desires may be. The ninth will be what led to the spread of religion. And the 10th and final piece will be on ritual and the neurobiology of ritual. And the case that all religions that we see today, every religion you see today, has echoes in it of the original religion in our hunter-gatherer ancestors in Africa, the fundamental structure of which is song, dance, and trance. So that's the menu. Again, thank you. Buckle up, here we go. So this is the traditional view of Darwinian natural selection, that it operates at the level of the individual. And this cartoon illustrates it, but it's actually wrong. Darwinian natural selection operates at the level of the individual gene of the, and if you think about it, the double helix, DNA, the gene, is the fundamental unit of life. So that is where Darwinian natural selection is going to operate, at the level of the gene. And I love this poem by Les Murray, Life's Slim Volume Spirally Bound. And this is the best statement of the modern Darwinian synthesis. An organism is an integrated collection of problem-solving devices, adaptations, shaped by natural selection over evolutionary time to promote, in some specific way, the survival of the genes that directed their construction. So, my heart solves the problem of pumping blood. Hemoglobin solves the problem of transporting oxygen. My lungs solve the problem of extracting oxygen from the air. At every single level of biological inquiry, Darwinian natural selection. Now, the other thing that's important about this statement is that this is also a statement about the human mind. The mind is what the brain does. And the mind-brain is this integrated collection of problem-solving devices, adaptations, shaped by natural selection over evolutionary time to promote, in some specific way, the survival of the genes that directed their construction. So you're looking at me, I'm an upside-down two-dimensional image on your retina. All kinds of adaptations turn that into the three-dimensional sensation you have of vision. What we're going to be talking about are social adaptations, attachment, theory of mind, hyperactive agency detection. Those are also problem-solving devices that evolved and are part of the human mind, and they're the parts that go into religious belief. Now, this is another statement of the modern Darwinian synthesis. It says, well, my psychiatrist says, if it makes you happy, do it. And what this illustrates, a couple of things. Our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors are designed by our genes for our genes' benefit, not necessarily our own, okay? There is at times conflict between genetic interest and self-interest, and this illustrates it. The modern Darwinian synthesis helps us understand suicide. Suicide is an illustration of the modern Darwinian synthesis. If I kill myself and it augments the survival and reproduction of other bodies out there, like my children and grandchildren that contain my genes, there's going to be selection for suicide, which is not in my self-interest, but is in my genetic interest. And one of the characteristics of human beings is we are intensely social and make huge self-sacrifices for other people, particularly family. And sometimes we make an ultimate self-sacrifice with our own death. Steve Pinker has a nice analogy. The mind is like the mind brain is like the Apollo spacecraft. What's the Apollo spacecraft? It's this compact array of engineering devices that are solving a constant stream of problems, only some of which actually become conscious to the astronauts. And many of the social adaptations that we have don't operate at the level of consciousness, but impact our behavior. All right, so that's the modern Darwinian synthesis. Let's turn to the second serving, human evolution. The basic here is that we are risen apes, not fallen angels. We are all African apes, and that's really hard for human narcissism to wrap its head around. Right? And Darwin knew this when he published Origin of the Species. I mean, he had a sense that human beings arose from apes in Africa. He waited until 1870 to publish it. It's really hard to get one's mind around the time sequences here. So let me give you a thought experiment that helps illustrate this. Right? Imagine that today, the 24 hours of today, is 2.4 million years. In other words, every hour is 100,000 years. So at midnight last night, 2.4 million years ago, our genus Homo shows up in Africa, right? It's about breakfast time this morning. Some of them left Africa. It is not until lunchtime that some made it into what is present day Europe. It's not until dinner tonight, 6 o'clock, that our immediate ancestor, Homo heidelbergensis, shows up in Africa. It's not around 9 o'clock, Neanderthals show up in Europe. Somewhere between 9 and 10 o'clock, our species shows up, Homo sapiens. But it is not until, and we almost went extinct, by the way. Homo almost went extinct about 5 times. That's the current thinking. It is not until like 11:20 tonight, 70,000 years ago, that fully modern Homo sapiens is there. You and I, right? 70,000 years ago, and there was a huge climate bottleneck, and we may have gotten down to somewhere between 600 and 2,000 breeding individuals, but we made it through that climate bottleneck and survived. And it's not until 6 minutes before midnight, 6 minutes before midnight, that some of us started to settle down into agricultural communities in what is modern day Turkey, in the Near East. We started to settle down into some early agricultural communities, not to grow food, but actually to make better barley for better beer. But that's another story. The point of this is, I hope you see the vast length of time that our genus evolved in harsh, dangerous environments in a life of hunter-gatherers. That's the context in which all of these mechanisms evolved that I'm going to be talking about today. Not all, some are even earlier than Homo. But these are the mechanisms that helped our ancestors survive, and they had to try to figure out and come up with explanations for disease, storms, floods, fires, food shortages, water shortages. And it's very easy to explain those things by invoking human-like agents. And that probably actually had survival value. So it's important to keep in mind that the evolutionary past frames the experienced present. Or as William Faulkner said, the past is never dead, it's not even past. Right? So when you go to your physician and they ask for your family history, show them this. These are your ancestors, your Homo ancestors going back 2.4 million years. The skull on your left is Homo erectus, about 900 cubic centimeters. It was probably 1.5 million years old. The skull on your right is us, Homo sapiens, about 1,400 cubic centimeters. What I want you to look at is notice the difference in the frontal areas of the brain, the frontal lobe. That's what makes us human. We had conquered, as a genus Homo, we had conquered the physical environment. You know, we left Africa 1.5 million years ago. We'd conquered the physical environment. So what was the most challenging, difficult part of our environment that led to the rapid evolution of Homo sapien brains, particularly the frontal lobes? The most challenging part of the environment was each other. And we are a social animal. Your frontal lobe is a social brain. We're an ultra cooperative, ultra social species, and that all those mechanisms are largely in the frontal lobes. That's what makes us unique. And as you know, we got into Europe, maybe 100,000 years ago, and then we spread throughout the world, and we are the last surviving hominid. Neanderthals went extinct 25, 45,000 years ago. We're the last surviving hominid. And one of the questions is why? Why are we the last surviving hominid? And one of the reasons may be is that we achieved or evolved what the insects have. And that's something called eusociality. And eusociality is multi-generational care of the young, cooperative care of the young, what's called cooperative breeding. I'll gladly let you hold my one-year-old granddaughter. A chimpanzee mother won't even let her sister hold her child, right? So we have cooperative care of the young, cooperative breeding. We have division of labor. Think of all the different jobs all the people attending this afternoon do. We defend our homes. We defend local communes, local homes, local territories. And what's crucial about eusociality, any species that is eusocial has altruistic self-sacrifice. We sacrifice ourselves for others, and sometimes that can get derailed, and the sacrifice is suicide. Non-eusocial species do not have altruistic self-sacrifice. And again, we're altruistic, ultra-cooperative, ultra-social species, and the mechanisms that go into that, as I'll show you, are some of the mechanisms that go into generating supernatural beliefs. So again, you want to keep in mind that the context of our evolution is an endless camping trip with close relatives, right? That's the situation in which we evolved. And I think the other thing that's important politically, socially, is we just put aside your racial, ethnic, religious differences, right? Underneath our skins, we are all Africans. We are all African apes. We are all Africans. All 8 billion people on the earth today are the descendants of a small band of hunter-gatherers, several bands of hunter-gatherers that survived severe climate change in Africa 70,000 years ago, got through it, and survived and ultimately populated the world. So, what are now, we're on to the third serving. What's the fundamental structure of religious ideas? All religious ideas are byproducts of cognitive mechanisms that originally evolved for other purposes. They are all an artifact of our ability to imagine social worlds. Now, imagine social worlds sounds like a fancy phrase. It's not. All this is your ability right now while you're listening to me. You can think about conversations you're going to have with people later today, tomorrow, next week. You can imagine that in your head instantly. Complicated social interactions with other people. We have that ability, and that goes into religious beliefs. All religious ideas, all religious beliefs are human concepts with slight alterations. And this is not new, right? We keep, in some sense, rediscovering the same things. The great English poet Shelley, when he was refuting the idea of deism, said there's no attribute of God which is not either borrowed from the passions and powers of the human mind, or which is not a negation of those powers. He saw that all religious ideas are based on attributes of human minds. So, another way of thinking of religious ideas is that they, as crazy as they are, be careful about thinking of our ancestors' religious beliefs as nuts, because they're not. They were useful falsehoods. They helped our ancestors for millions of years, explained a world, allowing them to have theories that were simple, that orderly, regular, that helped them survive and understand a complex world that was driven by invisible forces, right? Most of the forces they were up against ultimately were unknown to them. And we're still, if you step back from it and think about it, we're still in that position ourselves. Have any of you here ever seen a gene? Have you ever seen an electron? Have you ever seen, say, the COVID virus? Yet we talk about them as if, you know, the physicists will say, well, electrons have preferences. We will talk about genes do this, genes do that, as if they're like they've got human agency. So you can even catch in the modern world, in our language and in our thinking, some of these attempts to add simple agency to invisible forces which impact our life. Right. So that's the third serving. What's the fourth? This offends a lot of people, and I'm sorry, but it is true. If you understand the psychology of junk food, you understand the psychology of religion. Now, what is junk food? Junk food is a modern cultural creation that creates supernormal stimuli that lands on adaptions we have for something else. All of us here love sweets. We crave sugar. That original craving is for ripe fruit, Ripe fruit was a crucial source of calories. It was a crucial source of vitamin C. We didn't make our own vitamin C. So we all have cravings for that which was rare and crucial. Sweets. What does the modern world give us? It gives us Coca-Cola. It gives us brownies. And I don't know about you, but if I wake up in the middle of the night and there's a peach downstairs and there's a brownie, I may think I should be good and mind my, healthcare and eat the peach, but I'm going to find some excuse to eat the brownie. And meat, we all crave fat, but the fat that we crave was the fat of lean game meat, right? Which was rare, crucial source of calories and protein. And so we have cravings for fat, but the modern world gives it to us in a novel form of, fat-soaked McDonald's hamburgers. The other thing is that in the world in which we evolved, starvation was always right around the corner. We didn't eat just for the fuel we needed for that day. We ate as much as we possibly could because we might not see another meal for days or weeks. The modern world gives us plenty of food every single day, yet we have an appetite that's based on near starvation. And this underlies obesity, diabetes, but I hope you start to see that what's coming at us culturally is a novel, supernormal stimulus, right? My pleasure centers in my brain are going to respond a little bit to that peach, but to that brownie, boom. I mean, the pleasure centers in my brain, the nucleus accumbens, is just going to explode, right? And somebody sent me this picture, and I can't not include it. I'm sorry. The junk food Pope. Okay, so that's junk food, and I hope you see the structure of it. What about pornography? Pornography is the same thing. Pornography gives men, basically, pornography gives men super normal stimuli. Women that, want to jump on you and you don't even have to ask them out for a date, right? And it's constant. And so we get intense, super normal stimuli on our sexual predispositions, which were designed in a completely different environment. And I don't need to tell probably anyone in this audience that the terrible damage that the widespread availability of pornography is doing. But I hope you see the basic structure of it, taking evolved tendencies and hitting them hard with intense supernormal stimuli that did not exist in the ancestral environment. This brings us to religion, okay? And the same idea, hijacking ancient mechanisms with supernormal stimuli. This is obviously a church service, a Pentecostal church service. And what are the people doing? They're reaching up, right? They're reaching up to God. And what is if you've ever been around toddlers, what do toddlers do? They sort of, come over to you and they reach up and ask to be picked up. That's the basic mammalian human attachment system, right, that we all have. And religions are hijacking this with supernormal stimuli, a super father, a super mother, whose powers are much greater than the limited powers of our parents. And the human attachment system was mapped out by Mary Ainsworth and John Bowlby. Mary Ainsworth was a psychologist, an American psychologist, John Bowlby, a British psychiatrist. And I would encourage you to look up on Becoming Attached, which is in the Atlantic Monthly. And if you can't find any of these things, don't hesitate to email me. I'll happily send you the references. But this was Robert Caron did an article on the attachment system in the Atlantic Monthly in 1990, and Bowlby and Ainsworth were still alive. And it's a great introduction to the attachment system. The other great introduction that's out there is written by a woman, Bethany Saltman. It's called The Strange Situation, and it's an absolutely beautiful book. She's a poet, and when her daughter was born, she became anxious about her relationship with her daughter, she did a 10-year deep dive into attachment theory. And she writes this book that is simultaneously her struggles about motherhood and educating you about the attachment system from Bowlby Ainsworth in the beginning all the way to the modern day. And it's just a phenomenal book, I think. And this is the attachment system. And it's not just us, it's all mammals and primates. This is probably 60 million years old. And think about it. If you step back from it, when an infant primate is born, they instantly look for and connect to the mother and hold on for dear life. That's very complicated behavior. And we have these we're born with sort of innate neural networks that are in effect a form of knowledge. We're born with the knowledge that mothers exist. We're born with the knowledge that mothers know how to help. We're born with the knowledge that mothers are able to and want to and will help, particularly when we are crying. This is infantile, early childhood attachment networks in our brain. And what's the echo in religion? Mothers exist, the certainty of faith. Mothers know how to help, omniscient gods. Mothers are able to and want to and will help, our omnipotent gods. And mothers will respond when they hear crying. You know, gods will answer our prayers. The Virgin Mary will answer your prayer. If you are around an infant up to a few months old, take that infant and just momentarily just drop your hands out of, don't drop the baby, but just drop a little bit, and you'll see the child do a Moro reflex, and that's the attachment system. Or if you're around an infant, who's not mature, barely has their eyes open, and you put your finger in their hand, they're going to grasp it. That's the attachment system. And that we know that we're born with the idea that mothers nourish. They have a face and a melodic voice. If you've had children, think about how, whether you like to or not, particularly the mothers, but also the fathers, we start speaking to our infants in motherese. Our voice changes, right? That's hardwired. That's the attachment system. And that these circuits persist into adulthood. All of us right now, I have it, you all have it, we still have, in our heads, these infantile, these early childhood, neonatal attachment systems, which can still very easily get triggered. And, they, like pornography, okay, they can get triggered by supernormal stimuli. And that they form the basis of all relationships, not just the mother-infant caretaking relationship, but friendships, colleagueships, romantic partners. The basis of this is all the attachment system, and it's a continuum. And the very early part is this neonatal early infant attachment system, which sits there dormant, but can be tapped into and create the illusion. I mean, these are powerful circuits, and they can create the illusion of a loving presence, particularly when we feel helpless and powerless and under huge stress. And how many of you know people who talk about finding God, but they found God when they were in enormously stressful situations? Now, if you're interested in this, I think one of the best, I'm obviously biased towards my little book on religion, but I think one you want to, if you've only got one book in you, John Wathay, a neuroscientist, wrote the book, The Illusion of God's Presence. It was published, I think, in 2016. And he lays this out marvelously. I think it's a contribution to the science of religion that hasn't gotten the recognition it deserves. He has a new book on, it's called, I'm blacking on the name now, but it's about more about the neuroscience of religion. But his first book will, educate you like no other. So I hope so. And I think this is the basic fundament. This is one of the crucial, if not the most crucial, psychological mechanism that we all carry, that religions hijack. Think about if you had a child and you rocked that child. You're rocking that child, stimulating their vestibular system, which again is part of the attachment system. It soothes the baby, and the baby generally is laying on your chest, and on the left side of your chest, if you think about it, if you've had children, had babies, that left side of your chest, they're hearing your heartbeat, and they're rocking, their vestibular system is being stimulated, and it's again part of the attachment system. You know, what do men do at the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem? They're davening, this, you know, rhythmic movement. It's like they're stimulating their vestibular system as they're chanting. And again, they are intensely stimulating their attachment system. What about communion? What is communion? Communion is an authority, a parent feeding a child. And here you see the child being fed. What do we do when we take communion? We go up and we kneel, so we get down into the position of a child. The parent is above us, we're a child, and we are fed like we can't feed ourselves. And that again is stimulating that early powerful attachment system. All right. Some of you may have seen some of the coronation of King Charles, and we'll come back to some of this, but I choose it because it illustrates a lot of things about ritual and the functions of ritual. But I want you to look at what surrounds Charles here. Notice it is mostly children, right? And it again is stimulating at some unconscious level your attachment system. Who makes up the choir? Oh, and this basically, if you watched any of it or read about it, it was basically a medieval religious service. And it's a very rich example of much that I want to go over with you today. Notice what surrounds Charles. It's children. Who was the choir that was singing to him? It was a children's choir. Think about the music. Think about all your Christian hymns. They evoke the attachment system. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a poor wretch like me. Once I was lost, now I'm found, right? It was grace. Look at the words of almost all Christian hymns will at some level evoke the attachment system. I mean, obviously there's a few like Onward Christian Soldiers that have to do with war. We'll get back to that. But I challenge you, think of your favorite Christian hymns. Swing low, sweet chariot, come for to carry me home, right? Look at the lyrics. They're all about the attachment system. And there was a gospel group at the coronation. And I would encourage you, pull up the video of them singing, because what you will see is that they sing a hymn that has to do with basically praising a parent, a benevolent parent. It's the attachment system right there before you. And we'll come back to it later, but you will see that they're making beautiful music, they are singing, but they are moving, and they are moving symmetrically. And we'll come back to that in ritual. But again, at the heart of this is the early attachment system. Go to scripture. And once you get out of the slaughter and mayhem of the Old Testament, and even still some of it is in the Old Testament, a lot of your scripture is again going to evoke the attachment system. This is from Psalm 27. When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up. And I chose this picture deliberately because, again, it is a old, ancient mammalian system. You know, the elephants have it just like we do. All right, so that's the attachment system. Number 6, fancy name, decoupled cognition. And what this means is that we can decouple our cognition in time and place and mind and body. Time and place is what I was talking about earlier, which is right now, you're in Atlanta, and while you're listening to me, you can think about a conversation you might have with somebody who's in South Carolina. You can in next week. So you can move to a different place, a different time, and have a complicated social interaction with an unseen other in a different place in a different time. We take it for granted. It's part of our everyday, ordinary cognition. I can right now think about a patient I'm going to have to see on Monday that I'm kind of worried about, right? So that's time and place. We also decouple our cognition in mind and body. And this goes to how we can conceive of souls. This is an ancient burial in what is today Israel. It's an adolescent male, and this is all over the anthropologic record. And a set of antler horns were put in his grave. They clearly thought he would have some form of afterlife, and they put all sorts of things in his grave for him to have in the afterlife. If you think about it, what is Egyptian civilization? Egyptian civilization is this extraordinarily complex civilization built on the idea of an afterlife. How could we have the psychology of an afterlife? And again, it's very easy. And one of the things I hope you're starting to see is religious cognition is just one step from everyday, ordinary cognition. So I'm going to do it. I hope you can see it, but I'm going to hold up this apple here, and I want you to imagine that this is my brain, right? This is my brain, and so we're going to cut my brain in half, right? And this is the front of my brain right here. This is the back of my brain, and this is the midline structures of my brain. And it's in the midline that I can, this is where my own thoughts, my own feelings are processed in the midline. When I think about what you're thinking, that's in the midline, okay? Now, if you were standing in front of me and I looked at your left arm, that's gonna be processed on the outer cortex, right? If I'm looking at your left arm, I'm gonna process that on my right cortex. And so I hope you see there's a split between mind and body that's built into our brains. And this allows us all sorts of things that we take for granted, but it's actually extraordinary cognition, right? And it's what underlies what's called dualism, which is our brains represent minds and bodies in completely separate neural circuits. We experience and believe that minds and bodies are separate categories, even though we know differently. We know the mind is what the brain does, but I think that I have a body. I don't think I'm in a body. I have a body and I have a mind. And I view you all as having minds and bodies, but they're separate. What's the advantage of this? It's huge. If I had to have Bobby in front of me, where I could see him, to think about what he might want or what his preferences are or what he might want for this talk, that would be a real burden. I can think about him and his mind even before meeting him. And once meeting him, I can still think about, well, what does he, want for this talk today? What does his audience want? And so the belief in some form of life, mental life, that is apart and different from the body, that's just a default setting of the human brain. It's just automatic. We experience mind and bodies differently, and this allows for the idea of souls, which are basically bodiless minds that are out there, right? But we do that all the time. All the time. We can think about having a conversation with President Biden. I've never met him, but I can think about a conversation that I might like to have with him, right? And it's automatic. Now, I would wager you that nobody, when I said in the beginning of my lecture, When I said, if you ran into Mr. Jefferson next week, I'm confident that none of the people in this audience went, what's he talking about? Run into Mr. Jefferson next week? I can't run into Mr. Jefferson. It's automatic. You know, you can think about running into Mr. Jefferson and having a conversation with him, even though Jefferson is long dead, right? You can see, I hope, that that's just one little step with interacting with ancestors. We're not that many steps away from ancestor worship, right? And I'm at UVA, where, you know, until recently, Mr. Jefferson was a god and was worshipped, but that's another story. That was the sixth serving. So that's decoupled cognition. Number 7, hyperactive agency detection mechanisms, and this is crucial. Right now, wherever you are, if you heard a door slam, you would bolt. Your body would start to pour out adrenaline. Your body would get ready for fight flight, and you would act as if it's a human agent long before you would think it was the wind. And that's crucial, absolutely crucial, because a false positive, meaning that it wasn't a human being, a false positive is an inconvenience. You start to sweat a little bit, and you know, you got distracted, but you quiet your body down and you go back to business as usual. Now, if that door slammed and you thought it was just the wind, no big deal, but it was actually a predator, a tiger or another human being, that's a false negative, and that's deadly. So we have inconvenience on one hand, deadly on the other. So our brains, because the consequences of a false negative are so severe, our brains evolved to be hyperactive agency detection. You know, we see faces in the clouds. If there's something sudden or surprising, we're going to assume it's human until proven otherwise. You know, you hear something downstairs in the middle of the night, you're going to think burglar long before you think it's a cat. Now, there's another thing that's connected to this, called minimally counterintuitive worlds. And this is a real crucial part of religion. I'm not familiar with Atlanta, but let's say there's a park in Atlanta that's got a famous old oak tree that's in the middle of the park, well-known, famous old oak tree in Atlanta. And if I tell you that that Atlanta oak will fix your computer, do your taxes, take your car to get fixed, you are simply not going to believe me. I hope not, because there are too many violations of treeness. There's just way too many violations of treeness. But if I tell you that that old oak in Atlanta, on the night of full moons, will hear your requests, you're going to be, even this audience, you're going to be a little bit vulnerable to get drawn into that. And the structure of that is there are almost no violations of treeness. There's just one little twist, which is a human twist, you know, that tree will hear my prayers, can understand my Southern accented English, and can hear my prayers. Just has coupled human attributes, but no big violations of treeness. And these are called minimally counterintuitive worlds. And they're sort of the optimum compromise between the interesting and the expected. And they're always attention arresting and memorable. You're more likely to remember the tree that'll hear your wish. You'll remember that longer than the tree. You won't remember all the things I said the tree could do in terms of your taxes and car. But you'll remember that can hear your prayer for a little bit longer time. Right? What's the Virgin Mary? Right? The Virgin Mary, right, is basically, there are no violations of a young woman and baby, right? The attachment system, all right? A young woman and a baby, as human as it gets. There's one little twist. She didn't have to go through the usual prerequisites to have a child. She's a virgin, right? But it also it also indirectly hints at, well, maybe she, conceived of the child with God, but, it was an immaculate conception, so we can't charge the guy with rape. But you can, I think, start to see that it is a beautiful illustration of a minimally counterintuitive world. Almost no violations of young woman, child, kindness, and one little twist, she had an immaculate conception and had Jesus. And she's powerful. The Catholic Church has made her a deity. We pray to her, but she's a nice example of a minimally counterintuitive world. And the religious minimally counterintuitive worlds hijack this system that we have: hyperactive agency, our evolved expectations of the world, and what was crucial for survival, which is fitness. Fitness is survival and reproductive success. Survival requires that we pick up very quickly anomalies in our environment, because they could be deadly, and control of them may have been, was crucial for our survival. And how do they get forged into religion? Well, these minimally counterintuitive intentional agents become the Virgin Mary. They possess strategic information. The Judeo-Christian God is another big example of a minimally counterintuitive world. I mean, what is the Judeo-Christian God? He's an angry old man, right? And there are very few violations of angry old men. But he's got strategic information about me. He knows whether I've been naughty or nice. He interacts with the world. And I think one of the interesting things is, okay, he knows what I think and feel, but if he knows what I think and feel, why do I have to pray to him? That doesn't make any sense. But again, my having to pray to him keeps there from not being too many violations of humanness, right? And also, these minimally counterintuitive, powerful agents like God and the Virgin Mary motivate ritual. And these go into religion. Rituals, costly devotions, fasting, prayers, taboos. And again, these are all going to be virtue signaling to show that I'm a loyal member of a group. I'm loyal to the God, but I'm also a loyal member of the group, of the whatever religious sect I'm a member of. And again, religion, the root word of religion is religare, which means to bind, social bonding, right? And we build credibly enhancing displays like monuments, cathedrals, churches, which are awe-inspiring and again, testaments to the commitment of our tribe to whatever religion we're a part of. All right, so that's MCIs. The eighth serving on today's tapas menu is theory of mind. And again, this is just a fancy term for we can think about what other people believe, wish, and desire. And we can pick up signs in their face, in their emotions, in their eye gaze. There are all sorts of things that we use as cues, but we can spend a lot of time, as you know, thinking about what other people think, desire, believe, and want. Theory of mind. And there are a couple of, don't pay attention to the details here. Let me just go over it. There are two really fascinating imaging studies. One in 2009, actually done at NIH, Kapagiannis and his colleagues. And they took people and put them in scanning machines. And when people were thinking about God's feelings, when they were thinking about God's intentions, when they were thinking about religious scripture, the parts of their brain that lit up were those theory of mind mechanisms. I would submit to you, it's a very important paper because they showed that religious cognition was just utilizing everyday, ordinary mechanisms that we evolved to deal as social animals. Now, these images come from another paper by Epley and his colleagues, and this was interesting in that they took people and had them, they manipulated their beliefs, and what was fascinating is when they manipulated the person's belief, lo and behold, the person believed that God had changed his opinion in the similar direction. So it's a nice imaging study that shows that a person's religious beliefs are just projected onto whatever God they worship. And the lower right shows that God and the self were the same. When we think about somebody else's religious beliefs, we use slightly different mechanisms. But if we're thinking about our own beliefs and God's beliefs, they're basically unitary in our minds. And it's a wonderful paper. That's, again, hoping to show you that religious beliefs based on everyday, ordinary, evolved cognitive mechanisms, in this case, theory of mind. So how do religions spread? And they spread by a number of mechanisms. And these are the Kung San in Africa, who I'll come back to. And religions spread to the extent that they can facilitate further cooperation. And remember, we evolved to be ultra-social, ultra-cooperative species. So we're already heavily biased in that direction. So any religion that can facilitate in-group cooperativeness is going to have a head start. Also, they spread religions spread to the extent that they can reduce the limitations that kinship and reciprocity-based altruism relationships are in a group. So, I can join a religion or religious sect even if I'm not an actual brother or kin to somebody in the group. I can join a religion and become part of the religion even if I'm not in a reciprocity-based relationship with somebody where I'm scratching their back, they're scratching mine. I can still be a part of that and become part of the wider religion without those limitations. I ultimately may obviously, develop some reciprocity-based, help people, they help me, but the initial spread does not require that. Right? And once I'm in the religion, I'm going to often be referred to as brother or sister. Again, trying to evoke kin, trying to evoke which are the strongest relationships, trying to evoke kin, trying to evoke attachment relationships. Right. And they're going to also utilize our sensitivity to our pro-social reputation. All of us want to be thought of, or most all of us want to be thought of as pro-social, as cooperators, as good people who will sacrifice for others. Religions, again, hijack that, right? Religions also use moralizing and monitoring gods to facilitate cooperation. One aspect of being human is that if people are watching us, we're on better behavior. I don't know if you know the experiment where they put a coffee thing in an office, and you come up and you get a cup of coffee, and you're supposed to put some money in a cup. And if they put just 2 sets of plastic eyes above the coffee machine, the amount of money in the bowl increases. If you feel you're being watched, you behave a little bit better. And one of the main functions of gods is as monitors and moralizing monitors. Right. So back to the Kung San. And something that is very important, I think, to understanding religions in our world and rituals. If you look at the Kung San in Africa, and the Andaman Islanders off the coast of India. They were an isolated population until the 18th century. I think actually until the 19th century. And then you look at the Aborigines, they all have almost identical religions based on song, dance, and trance. And Nicholas Wade powerfully argues that that is a window into deep history. That's a window into the original religion of our hunter-gatherer ancestors, and echoes of those religions, I'll show you, are to be found in all modern day religions. So the Kungsan of Africa. And religions, I love this, is from Jonathan Haidt. Religions work to suppress our inner chimp, our selfishness, not putting the money in the coffee bowl, suppress our selfishness, our inner chimp, and bring out our inner bee. What's the bee? The eusocial animal, ultra cooperative, ultra social. Right? The Andaman Islanders, the Aborigines. All three religions based on song, dance, and trance. No priests, no ecclesiastical hierarchy. So one function of religion in those hunter-gatherer groups were inevitably a hierarchical species, and we sort of tamped that down in the original religion. There's a greater equality. It's the whole community, and distinctions of rank are suppressed. And it's centered on rhythmic physical activity. Now, why? Because our ancestors literally stumbled into a way to harness our neurobiology in very, very powerful ways. All of you've heard of serotonin. That's the neurotransmitter that Prozac boosts. Serotonin is one of the oldest monoamine neurotransmitters, and it's crucial for self-esteem. You boost serotonin, you get a rise in self-esteem. If tomorrow we made Bobby president of the United States, even if he didn't want the job, if we made him president, his serotonin levels would go up. The status, the improved status, his serotonin system would be exploding, and his self-esteem would go up simply because he was catapulted on status, right? So serotonin boosts self-esteem. Norepinephrine and dopamine, adrenaline and dopamine. We tend to think of these as, like dopamine, the pleasure chemical, but norepinephrine and dopamine are crucial for memory, attention, and focus. They mark things as memorable. When something really stands out in your memory, it has been marked with dopamine and norepinephrine. All of you've heard of oxytocin, the trust hormone, right? So again, these rituals boost oxytocin. Endorphins, our own internal morphine system, which diminishes pain. But most people don't appreciate that endorphins boost bonding. Endorphins are a crucial bonding hormone. Right? And Darwin, Darwin saw this. He saw that musical notes and rhythm, first acquired by the male or female of mankind for the sake of charming the opposite sex. Music is crucial for courtship, as everybody knows. Musical tones become firmly associated with the strongest passions an animal is capable of feeling. Love, attachment, commitment, cooperation, bonding. Right, now, if we, this is a beautiful experiment. If we take Bobby and we put him on a rowing machine, and we have Bobby row for a few minutes on the rowing machine, and you can measure work output, so we know exactly what his work output is on the rowing machine. And then we take Bobby and we put a blood pressure cuff on, and we squeeze it until he feels pain, right? And we measure his pain threshold. Now we put Bobby back on the rowing machine, but this time he's got two people on either side of him rowing synchronously with Bobby, right? And they do the same work output, exact same work output. Now we test Bobby's pain threshold, and it's gone way up. It takes a lot more squeezes on the blood pressure cuff to get close to that pain. same work output, but he is moving symmetrically with other people, right? He's moving in rhythm, and we have changed his endorphin level, right? Touch is very, very powerful. And I don't know really any of the women in the audience, but I'll assume somebody's out there who will be a volunteer. And
who you want?
I'm sorry?
You want me to bring somebody up?
No, they don't have to come up. Just give me a name.
Miss Tiffany.
Tiffany, okay. That's right. She was on the email. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Tiffany, okay. So we're going to put Tiffany in an imaging machine, right? And she's lying there in an imaging machine, and she's shown a threat scenario. And her amygdala, the fear center of her brain, just explodes, right? Okay, then we have Tiffany hold the hand of a stranger, and we show her the threat scenario again, and her amygdala still lights up, but it doesn't light up anywhere near as much. And she's holding the hand of a stranger. Then the third thing is that we have Tiffany in the imaging machine, and we have her hold the hand of somebody she knows, a close friend, a romantic partner, but somebody she knows, and she's holding the hand of that individual. We show the threat scenario again, and her amygdala barely lights up. Even more interesting, the degree to which Tiffany's amygdala does not light up is proportional to her ratings of the relationship. So the more she rates it as a close, good relationship, the less her amygdala lights up. And the only variable here is holding a hand, right? Touch. That's it. Touch is very, very powerful. And when we wanted touch, let me be clear, it is wanted touch. So if you come up to a loved one, to a friend, and you just put your hand on their shoulder and give it a little bit of a squeeze, they're going to get a hit of endorphins and oxytocin, and the idle speed of their frontal lobe will come down a little bit. Touch is much more powerful than we ever appreciated. Now, I don't know how many of you saw in 2012 when Barack Obama was nominated to run for his second term. And at the Democratic National Convention, Bill Clinton gave just an unbelievable nominating speech for President Obama. What most people did not realize is that these two men hated each other, absolutely hated each other. And it was like the Mideast peace negotiations getting these two men back together. And they managed to find a truce. It was a tense truce, but it was a truce. So Clinton gives this fantastic speech. Then he comes off the podium, and as he comes off the podium, out from behind the curtain comes Obama, and the crowd obviously just goes wild. And these two men hug each other, and Obama is not just hugging him, but he is stroking Clinton's back like there's no tomorrow. And you see a tear out of Clinton's left eye. And what these men didn't know is that this was a powerful moment of conciliation through touch. Through touch. I mean, it was incredibly powerful. Oh, the other thing is that when he came off the podium, Clinton bowed to Obama. He made a symbolic gesture of submission to Obama. I mean, it's extraordinary. And I don't know if any of you happened to be watching, but it was very powerful. I was crying. I mean, it was unbelievable. And I didn't know these guys hated each other. I mean, it was just powerful in its own right. It was just, I thought, quite extraordinary. And why was I crying? Because, I have mirror neurons. So my brain was reacting as if Obama was hugging me, right? At some level, we have these mirror neurons that pick up on what's going on in others. and lights up the same part of our brain. If you go into the anthropologic record, and what are cave paintings? When they're human beings, they're dancing. They're always groups, they're often touching, and there's some form of dancing. Now, we get back to the coronation for a minute, right? And the purpose of rituals. And you notice that Charles has representatives of all these religions in front of him. No religion ever survived by tolerating their competitors. And I don't know if the members of the other religions appreciated it, but this was a ritual in which they are basically submitting to Charles, right? And to his group. And rituals, again, are powerful because they resolve multiple social issues. And this is going to be true of even the secular rituals that we do. You know, the wave at a football stadium. And they solve a number of rituals. They solve freeloaders, okay? Somebody who's selfish, if you participate in a ritual, and particularly a religious ritual, it is a hard to fake, costly, honest signal of commitment to the group. Rituals, there's a lot of ritual often involved in punishment or symbolic punishment. Rituals are a place for commitment. Rituals are also a place for courtship. I don't know about any of the members, you know, in the audience, but when I went to Bible camps and stuff when I was a kid and a teenager, I mean, a lot of that was courtship. I was looking at the women and hoping, you know, I mean, that was, you know, part of it. And if you remember that Kung San, if you notice, the men are circling the women, okay, and the women are assessing them. Assessing their commitment to the group, assessing their appearance. It is a very powerful part of courtship within a group. Obviously, rituals ease communal conflict. And that ritual at the Democratic National Convention obviously eased the conflict between President Obama and former President Clinton. Rituals are involved in territorial defense. They also signal the quality and identity of a group. And think about what King Charles and the coronation ritual was trying to signal. We're wealthy, we're powerful, we're God's agent, the monarch, God's agent on earth. But rituals are also very powerful preparation for men going to war. Again, the coronation, look at it, it's full of soldiers, right? And I like this one. If you believe in me, divide into sects, and kill and hurt as many from the other sects as you possibly can, right? And again, these were the things that were involved in King Charles's coronation. And look closely, the majority of these instruments at his coronation were weapons, were swords. And even more interesting to me was that the head of Parliament, Penny Mordaunt, so she's head of Parliament. What is Parliament? It's a democratic institution. Democracies and monarchies do not mix, right? Democracies are based on one person, one vote, equality before the law. What are monarchies? You know, monarchies are unearned power and wealth, unearned power. And we have the head of Parliament, a democratic institution, basically arming King Charles. I mean, this was a medieval religious ritual in the extreme. All right. So let's finish up here, and we're going to go back to human evolution and a place in southeast Turkey, Göbekli Tepe, which was discovered in the 1990s. And it used to be thought that we were hunter-gatherers, and then we settled down and invented religion and religious monuments and those kind of things. Göbekli Tepe turned it on its head. We were still hunter-gatherers, and we came together at Göbekli Tepe for religious rituals. And one of the things we did was we brewed beer, right? And these are vats where beer was brewed using wild barley. Why would they brew beer, right? And it's because alcohol stimulates those endorphin receptors. It stimulates those mu opioid receptors. When we drink alcohol, it stimulates our bonding hormones, particularly through the endorphin system. Right? And we may have settled into agricultural communities not to grow food, but to raise better barley for better beer. And the original bread was not for eating. The original bread, einkorn, was for storing barley to brew beer. And this, you can see, this is from Göbekli Tepe. You can see the statue, the carving of people dancing and touching. Oh, the other thing is, when we listen to music, we get a little bit of stimulation. If you sing, if you make music, you really stimulate your endorphin system, your bonding system. Think choirs, right? So when you see this kind of thing, when you see any religious ritual in the modern world, I want you to look closely, because they all contain those echoes of the original religions based on song, dance, and trance. And there's no music in Islam, but men come together in this symmetrical prayer movement, right? It's a dance. Look at this as a dance, and they're close together. There's a lot of touching. And if you've ever heard the chants of an imam, it's beautiful. There's not music, but there's this beautiful chanting. Again, you see, I hope you see the echoes of the original religion and its ability to, hijack these powerful chemicals in our brains and bodies used for bonding. Everybody thinks of Buddhists as, these old guys in crimson robes. This is a Buddhist ritual, the same thing. A lot of music, a lot of symmetrical movement, the same thing. Think of the men at the Wailing Wall. It's a dance, right? And they're chanting. It's a dance and they're chanting. They're close together. There's not direct touch, but they're bumping into each other. Think about your African American churches, the gospel services. And again, those gospels, the songs have to do with attachment. There are a lot often in gospel choirs. There's children, right? And again, go back to the coronation. The beautiful rendition of Hallelujah, swaying. They're basically dancing. They're not touching, but they're swaying. They're making music. And it's music about praising an attachment figure. Our Pentecostal service, again, a lot of dancing. Oh, the other thing, why are pews in churches, right? Pews were probably, one of the reasons pews were put in churches in the 15th century. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, the 15th century and the 1400s. Pews were put in churches to stop the dancing. It was when political power, the throne had more control over religion and was using it, and they wanted people to stop dancing, to sit in the pews and listen to the sermons. Because with the dancing, as you know, people want to get into ecstasy states. The original word for ecstasy is the Greek word for enthusiasm, and they want to communicate directly to God themselves. But with political power, they're trying to control the dancing and keep people from a little bit too much ecstasy and in line and submitting to the king, submitting to the monarch and power. But you can see the attachment behavior. All right. In finishing up, and I very much appreciate your attention, we're going to finish up with this cartoon about Dickens. And the man is saying to Dickens, "I wish you could make up your mind, Mr. Dickens. Was it the best of times or was it the worst of times? It could scarcely have been both." And what I want you to consider is that Dickens in this cartoon was right. It is both the best of times and it's the worst of times. It's the worst of times in that all we got to do is turn on the television, open a newspaper, and we have evidence every day of how religion is poisoning so much of life on this planet. And it is one of the main barriers to secular civil societies. So and you just saw this mosque bombing in Pakistan, suicide terrorism still plagues us, religiously motivated suicide terrorism. So it is still the worst of times in many ways. But if I've done my work well, I hope I have shown you it is also the best of times. It is the best of times in that we are the first generation of human beings. We're the first generation in the history of the world to understand the basics of religious belief. We now understand the basics of why we generate religious beliefs, the mechanisms we use to generate religious beliefs, the mechanisms that make all of us vulnerable to these beliefs. And I think that leaves us with three crucial questions. First, what am I going to do with that knowledge? What am I going to do with that knowledge? The second question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge? But the most important question is the third question. What are we, as scientifically literate, democratic societies in the 21st century, what are we going to do with this knowledge for future generations? Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for your attention.
Man, boy, man, that'll definitely put a cap on the conversation, man. Make sure y'all check out Brother Reggie. He gonna be on DMG channel. Make sure y'all go over there and like and subscribe, yo. This show is dedicated to the two idiots that commandeered the channel with some complete foolery. There's always space to have this eloquent conversation about the origin of religion and the psychology that goes into it. There's always space for that. But to come out guns a-blazing, messing up the science, needing science to reinforce your crazy religion, it's totally crazy to me. Makes no sense. Very, very incoherent. And that's what those dudes were. They was very, 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 very incoherent. Talking crazy. Needing science to give them a explanation. Man, you don't understand. We like the dude said, like Dr. Andy said, we the first generation, right? Is actually understanding how religion has co-opted the brain, the mind, through evolutionary processes. We understand that now. Let me say it again. We the first generation to have an understanding of why we believe. 350,000 years, Homo sapiens couldn't get out of his damn way. Couldn't get to the modern science because beliefs got in the way. What he believed got in the damn way. I believe that the mountain just blew up and caught on fire and burned down the whole city because we did not feed the gods. Let's go get some human sacrifices and feed the gods. Couldn't get out your way. Homo sapiens sapiens. Brother Reggie always say Homo symbolicus. Yeah, man, this show is dedicated to those who really want to learn and really want to know and really want to understand why they believe what they believe. So let's get this straight. The balance of science and belief is always great. Humans will always believe. But will they always know? We use science as a tool so that we can understand it, so that we can know. Never get it confused, religion and belief. Two separate things. One is part of the natural processes. One co-opt the natural processes. So next time you jump out there guns a-blazing on the pseudo killers, you better get ready. Because we stay ready around here. Mercedes, again, next time you jump out on the pseudo killers, you better be ready. Oh!
Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. First we practice to deceive.
Trying to fake us out with fake pseudoscience, misrepresenting things. The hell wrong with y'all? Get out of here with that crap. We on all y'all heads. 8 to 80, blind, crippled, crazy. Big, small, little. Don't matter. Pseudos will always die at their source. Remember that. Never forget that. Go back and look at the whole show. 3 hours of fire. Educate yourself so you ain't walking around here super stupid in a world that's founded on technology and science. Get it together. Not trying to tell you what religion to be in, but don't be an African American around here running your mouth talking about how important religion is, right? And forgetting what the hell Christianity did and how it got you over here. And forget what Islam did. It's nuts. Knock it off, man. Appreciate everybody that came through, man. This one of them Bobby Banger specials. I see the pseudo Sunchild is in the building. He's a super pseudo and he will never learn. Man, big up to all the African scholars, man. Big up to Africa. Big up to America. Big up to Black America. And y'all know how we do it around here, man. We stay tight. We just be chilling, man. Pseudo Killers gonna be live. Yeah, I mean, all the time doing what we need to do, man. Man, we done fought a lot of battles around here, man. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. And we remain undefeated. So I'm going to fly my happy ass back up on Mount Olympus. You can join us if you embrace scientific literacy. Scientific literacy is a vaccine against the charlatans that come in our community. And man, it's a lot of them, boy, I tell you. Now my life seen so much flammery, pseudo scamming, smash scam wells, faking you out, making up shit, lying, fake ass chief X. They all scammers at all degrees. Y'all know how we do it around here, man. We keep it funky, yo. We ain't never scared. Man, big up to all the pseudo killers, man. Appreciate you, man. And hit that cash app, man. Show some love, man. Hit us on pseudokiller@gmail.com, man. Just what we doing.
Raising up the Titans, watch the fall of God's week. From Baltimore streets to Florida shores, Jehovah, hold and feel the rap as it roars. No more rules, it's time to break. Killer army rise and make no mistake.
Y'all know we
All
done.
gods must die, hear the echoes cry.
Y'all know how we doing.
From the heavens to the ground, see him falling.
Let's talk about it.
All gods must die, no more alibis. Odin, Buddha, Allah, they all say goodbye. Zeus, on the throne, but he's losing his life. He's ready for the fight. Open your best run, we here for debate. All the deities trembling, feeling the weight. Step aside, make way for the real. All gods must die. It's a done deal.
Yeah, y'all know what it is, man.
All gods must die, hear the echoes cry. From the heavens to the ground, see him fall and die. All gods must die, no more alibi. All gods must die, no more alibi. They all say goodbye.
Hey.
All could have gone killer, now time to fly. The world's ours now, hear the last goodbye.
Man, enough of that misinformation, man. Man, keep it funky around here, man. You know what we doing, man. Keeping it flavorful, doing what we gotta do, man. Science is undefeated, man. Nothing but science can defeat science. Check your religion at the door, man. We moving forward with other great communities, making sure we're not left behind. Y'all know what it is, man. I'm your host, Bobby Banger. And with that, I'm out.